Good evening, race fans, and welcome along to RTO Season 7, sponsored by Track Titan. After that cracking Season 6, we are back for even more action. 24 races you will be treated to this season. Of course, the opening three have already taken place at Suzuka, and we're back for more tonight at the mountain that bites back. My name, John Wright, aka Double O Raven, and joining me this evening and for the entirety of the series, it will of course be Miss Sarah Hockey. Good evening, Sarah.
Good evening, John. Good evening, everyone else. Pleasure to be here.
And it is an absolute pleasure to have Sarah here as we take you through all the action for round number 2 of the AMS and rounds 3 and 4, races 3 and 4 for the pros. That's right, it is a brand new format this season, which sees 3 races take place each evening. The first race of the evening will be the AMS. They'll duel out for 30 minutes on track. They will be subject to the ballast that they received last week. Sarah will bring you details of that very shortly. And then after that, we will have the pros and the silvers on track together. They will be taking part in 2 races this evening. So it's an 8 race calendar, my apologies. The excitement of Bathurst, I'm stumbling over my words. It's an 8 race calendar for the AMS and a 16 race calendar for the pros and the silvers. As I say, the series is sponsored by Track Titan. Not only are they handing out prizes to first, second and third place in each of the divisions, they're also giving you, the viewers, a chance for 1 month's free plus subscription and 30% off your next month. All you need to do is go to the checkout and type RTO Titan into the checkout where it asks for the discount code, and you will receive, as I say, 1 month free plus, as well as 30% off your next month. It is the easiest way to find how to cut your lap times and see visually where you can improve to other drivers on their leaderboards, or even with your friends and fellow community racers. Challenge your friends to get the fastest lap times at different track and car combos and see where you or they are faster to be number 1. That's all at Track Titan. RTO Titan at checkout for 1 month free plus subscription and 30% off your next month. Prizes for the drivers. First gets an annual plus membership. Second place will get themselves the 6-month membership. And third place, they're in for a 3-month membership. We're going to have, as I say, 3 races this evening. The pros and silvers will be taken to the track soon, but at the moment, the AMS are out in qualifying. I'm way ahead of myself, excited on this one. As I say, joining me this evening and for the rest of the series, it is going to be Miss Sarah Hockey. And Sarah, we're starting off, as I say, with the AMS tonight.
Yeah, like you said, we have a 10-minute qualifier followed by 1 30-minute race for the AMS. There are no pit stops required within this championship, but the top 3 finishers in tonight's AM race will have a success ballast applied for the following round at Indianapolis next week. And it goes as follows: 30 kg for first place, 20 kg for second place, and 10 kg for third place.
Indeed, so that has been applied from last week's race to the AMS, a race which saw a closely contested round number 1, and it might be on screen, but I've lost it. There we go. It was Elias Lindner, of course, who came home with the checkered flag waving purely for him. It was Raiden Shogun rounding out the podium, and Nige Woodcock in the Aston Martin. Phenomenal to see the way the bot worked. I know the new updates change things ever so slightly. We'll see how that affects the race tonight. I know the McLaren down a couple of kilometres on top end speed, but certainly good to see a Ferrari, a Mercedes and an Aston Martin, the top 3 cars. It was Brian Bond making it 4 for 4 for the manufacturers, finishing in 4th, Baz O'Neill finishing in 5th, and Daniel Zlatnik crossing the line in 6th position. Sarah?
Yep, so last week it was a tough track in really tricky wet conditions, but like John just alluded to there, sixth place, we had season 6 AM champion Daniel Zlatnik, then followed by Blythe in 7th, Samsung in 8th, Owen Isley in 9th, and with a DNF and rounding up the top 10 is Ander Obieta in 10th place.
Yeah, that gives us the top 10 in the standings, slightly lighter on the field this week. Despite it being dry this week on the track, we do have a fairly diminished field for this one. Only 8 of the AMs available to race this week, so some very, very, very good points coming the way of the drivers that do make it out on track. And we can see Zlatnik is out there. He'll be looking to make amends for last week, although Shogun and Obieta, not Ilsley. Wow. Thankfully, no one's just tried to say that the McLaren is potentially down on top end speed, as it just takes pole position. They would look rather foolish if they had. We're here at Bathurst, though. This course, absolutely incredible. Before we even start, we need to give an extra special shout out to Elias Lindner and anyone that drives the 296. I can assure you, in that very corner there, that car is wild. The back end does not want to behave as you come out of Forest Elbow. It is an immaculate racetrack. It's only ever been changed once in its history, Sarah, and it dates back to way back when, and it is just an outstanding track that always gives us some phenomenal racing.
It is, yes. Mount Panorama Circuit is located in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. It's best known as the home of the Bathurst 1000 motor race, which is held each October, and the Bathurst 12-hour event held each February. The track itself is 6.2 kilometres or 3.8 miles long. It's a long street circuit. The track has an unusual design by modern standards, with a 174 metres vertical difference between its highest and its lowest points. Other modernisations have seen concrete barriers put alongside the entire perimeter of the circuit, and runoff areas either increased where possible or gravel traps inserted where it wasn't possible. Bathurst's Mount Panorama Circuit has become an incredible part of Australian sporting history and a gathering place for petrolheads the world over, thanks to its mix of speed, danger and endurance. Winding its way up and down a hillside, the circuit has been enchanting race fans since the 1930s and remains one of the most challenging circuits in the world's motorsport. Winning here, whatever category it is a major accolade for any racing driver.
Yeah, it really is. 3.8 miles long, 6.2 kilometres. For those of you more educated than myself. 1938, of course, it was built, as Sarah said, 23 corners in total. 14 to the left, 9 to the right. 174 metre elevation again, as Sarah alluded to there. It is the corkscrew on steroids. 571 foot up and down the mountain, all of which are public roads. All of the little roads that you see popping off the side, those are driveways which go in the opposite way to the track so as to avoid cars ending up in the driveway. And the Conrod Straight itself, 1.1 mile, 1.9 kilometres long, and that is where we're going to see a lot of the battles taking place, because up and over the top of that mountain, not much room to get overtakes done, it is safe to say. We'll jump on board with Ilsley. For some reason, my YouTube is not working, so while I get that to work, Sarah, give us a quick rundown of where we are in qualifying with... Oh no, sorry, let me just check. Are you in? Did you manage to get yourself in? Yep.
I'm just heading there now.
Just heading in now, no problem. No, all good.
I can run you down if you want.
Yeah, go. Oh yeah, because you can see that screen there. Yeah, run them down and I will try and get my YouTube chat working. Yeah, perfect.
So currently going fastest is Isley in the McLaren. We then have Shogun in second in the Mercedes. Obieta again in the Mercedes in third. Then we have our last season's AM champion Zlatnik in the Porsche in fourth. Then coming in sixth at the moment is Woodcote. Then Bond, then Blythe in the BMW, rounding out the top 8 at the moment.
There we go, I can see the chat. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all enjoying. If you are, please do hit that subscribe, hit the like button Get yourself involved. Go on to the Discord and SimGrid. As you can see, there's spaces in the ARM grid. Get yourself involved. And what you could also do if you're a fan of the broad, big thank you as well. I'm going to give a shout out to this one. I did see in the RTO link, in the RTO Discord, Linksy giving a big shout out. Thank you to everyone. Over 500 views on the round 1 video. So thank you to everyone that watched live, and thank you to everyone that is watching back. Everyone that took part in the race and is watching back. I hope the race went well for you, and I hope this makes good viewing for you. And also feel free to share the stream as well. Get as many people as possible involved, because after what can easily be described, I'm sure Sarah will agree, as a scintillating Season 6, we're back for this Season 7, and it promises to be an absolute cracker. As we can see up at the top of the AM qualifying, there is a gargantuan 32 hundredths of a second separating the Mercedes that's just popped it into the wall with 4.5 minutes of quali left, into the wall. 32 hundredths separating the front row of the grid. It's already started, Sarah. Here comes the close racing, and around a track like Bathurst, 32 hundredths is very, not only is it a very tight technical track, there's 3.8 miles the drivers have to cover to do it so closely timed already. Oh, and there we go. I'm going to interrupt you again before we've even finished the first question. But there we go. That's Bathurst summed up in one of their tight twisty. It's a really long track, but they're keeping it very close up at the front. Very impressive around this track.
Yeah, I completely agree. Very impressive around this track. Of course, with all those concrete walls, you've got to get it as right as you can, and that means going as close to the wall as you can. Sometimes can be a little bit scary, but yeah, all the drivers so far are doing a really good job.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, a little bit scary is definitely the PG friendly term for drive round Bathurst. So thank you for keeping it friendly there, Sarah. I'm sure there's definitely other expressions that drivers use, none of them broadcastable, of course. But what we'll do is we'll jump on board, we'll listen to that McLaren engine absolutely tear itself to bits up and over the hill. Of course, one of the tracks that does on PC yield slightly slower times than the... Oh, and there we go. Yep, I've done that one myself. There is Owen Ilsley looking for extra time. Ironically, that's on a warm-up lap. So the cold tyres catching them out, so we won't do an on-board lap there. Let's have a look at Obieta coming along the aforementioned 1.1 mile Conrod straight. The chase, of course, added because straight ahead there you can see the bridge, those tyre barriers, of course the famous iRacing video. The driver had a couple of penalties left, so he just drove straight over the hump, cut out the chase chicane completely and took himself a podium. He was given an in-game penalty as per the rules. Complaints were made, but his position was upheld. But anyway, that is where the chase was added because cars kept landing in the local gardens. This is the start finish straight into turn number 1, called Hell's Corner. I personally think this should be Forest Elbow, and Forest Elbow should be Hell's Corner, because Forest Elbow is hell, especially in a 296. And I know I should potentially drive a different car, but let's stick with the 296 as we stick on board with Ander Obieta. 32 hundredths separate him from pole position at the minute, and he's got 2.6 mile of mountain separating him from the finish line as he makes his way into Quarry Bend, up into the cutting. As Sarah mentioned, these tight walls, it's the camber on the track as well. These are public access roads, public roads. You can't just cruise along and drive. The curves go on for the race, and as you can see just how close the drivers need to get to extract every single millimetre of time that they can, up over Griffin's Mount and then through the trio of parts, Reed, Silman and then McPhillamy. We saw the McLaren come a cropper on the curves, and the Mercedes as well, doing exactly the same thing. So they've set their bankers. They're definitely happy with the banker laps they've got there, Sarah. They're 8 tenths ahead of the rest of the field, but Obieta and Ilsley there really pushing their luck on that top curve, and it's just highlighting how easily the car can be unsettled and how much actually you need to use the curves as well to extract that time. It's a bit of a balancing act.
Yeah, I think we can both agree. Trying to go for a good lap. Some corners you want to take the curb, but on other corners you're scared to even touch it sometimes because of how kind of unsettling they can be on that one instance.
Indeed, yeah. Now we've had with the time, of course, with it being such a long lap as well. It takes quite a while to get the out lap done. That's there's only three cars left out on track. It is Zlatnik, last season's champion, who is definitely still on track. There he is there in the Porsche. So he is going to get his lap finished. Raiden Shogun, sitting fairly well up in the championship. He is about to finish his lap in the Mercedes, and he has got some time. And when I say he's got some time, if my deltas are correct here, he is about to break the heart of Ander Obieta. We will see a Mercedes on the front row of the grid. Will it be Ander Obieta, or is it going to be Raiden Shogun taking pole position at the death? And he's taking pole position right at the death. Take about RTO Arms. We're not even into the race yet, and they're keeping it close. Daniel, last season's champion, but in a new car this season, Zlatnik. Is he about to break both their hearts? He's going to need to find a lot of time. At the moment, he's only about 3/10 up. So he really needs a good Conrod straight here. Out with Forest Elbow, doesn't touch the wall, left a few inches on the edge of the track there. That could be the difference. Still sitting at 3/10 along the Conrod straight at the minute. Nice Woodcut doesn't really need to be looking over his shoulder with the pace that Zlatnik's got, unless Zlatnik left a lot of time on the table in the chase chicane. I think this might be as high up the order as we see him getting. He's 7/10 to get to Woodcut in the Aston Martin. He's just found another 2/10 through the chase. He's found another one. He did leave a bit of time on the table in the chase chicane. He's going to leave me with a very large foot in my mouth as he finds over almost a second through the chase chicane, and he does go ahead and nice Woodcut, and that leaves me looking extremely foolish once again, Sarah. But the arms right on it, right from the start. 2/10 separating the top three, and Zlatnik pops himself onto row number 2 right at the death.
Yeah, I think Zlatnik will definitely be happy with that performance.
Yeah, I definitely say he will be. We'll bring you the times in a moment. It's not allowing me access to them straight away. But there is the starting order. It is Raiden Shogun who will lead the charge. 2 Mercedes in the front 2 rows. The McLaren sandwiched between them. It's Owen Ilsley in the McLaren. Daniel Zlatnik right at the death there in the Porsche. Brings it home in 4th. And nice Woodcut in 5th position. Elias Lindner, early pole sitter in the Ferrari, finds himself in 6th place. Again, Forest Elbow in the 296. Fun times. Brian Bond is going to bring up the rear in the McLaren, and David Blythe is going to start at the back. It is a short warm-up lap for the drivers. This is round number 2. And actually, if we bring up the... it's not letting me do that at the moment either. So we'll confirm that in a moment. But it is round number 2 of season 7. It is the Track Titan sponsored RTO series. This is the AMS. We'll be bringing you the pros and the silvers. You can benefit from the partnership between RTO and Track Titan by using RTO Titan at checkout to get 1 month of the Plus membership free, as well as 30% off your next month. So it's going to be a 25-minute race, and someone I know only just spotted 41-degree track temperature. There's going to be a lot of rubber left on the track, and there we go. It's the green lights. It's foot down. It's flat out, and it's Shogun with a very good start. The Porsche got bogged down by the McLaren, and it's going to be Obieta thinking about a move. He's managed to keep it ahead of Zlatnik just about down at the back. David Blythe has a bit of a spin almost on the way out of Hell's Corner, but does keep it between the Mayo and the Mustard. He's got Bond well within slipstream range, so too does Elias Lindner. Up at the front, Raiden Shogun showing a clean pair of heels to the rest of the field, as we can see him head into Quarry Bend. It is Shogun, Ilsley, Obieta, Zlatnik, Woodcut, all with very clean starts. Lindner, Bond and Blythe as well. Phenomenal start, nice train of cars up the hill as the Mercedes sandwich the McLaren. Zlatnik in the pours. We'll see if he can fend off the advances of the Ferrari in a straight line, and in fact it already looks like the Ferrari Lindner falling that back ever so slightly. He needs to stay close to the Porsche to get himself some of that slipstream on the Conrod Straight. We're on board with the Aston Martin. It's a phenomenal view and a phenomenal sound. Oh, and there we go, it's that same curve again at the top of the hill. The driver's showing absolutely zero respect to the Suleiman Park exit, and that will come and that will not do them well over the full race. We'll see if that scared Lindner into submission in the next lap. Out of Forest Elbow, it's Shogun, Ilsley, Obieta, Zlatnik, Lindner, Woodcut, Bond and Blythe. The arms all with an excellent start to lap number 1, and actually if we're looking over Nigel Woodcut's shoulder, the McLaren's still very much in touch, just about in slipstream range. He's not going to be too far behind coming into the chase. Up at the front, Ilsley is going to be close going into the chase, very close. Both cars having a bit of extra lateral movement there. Under Obieta with the VIP view to this battle. Let's jump on bonnet cam and watch the carbon fibre bonnet chase these two. Ooh, that's a wild one, almost there by the lead McLaren. He did put the lead Mercedes, he put two wheels on the gravel and into Hell's Corner. The McLaren did get a bit closer. Did he maybe back up a bit? Because it does look like Obieta has gotten a bit closer to the McLaren than the other way round. Blythe has dropped back. Oh no, he's not, my apologies. It says he's 1.1 seconds down, but he is clearly he is definitely in the slipstream heading along the bottom straight, yeah, into Quarry Bend. Sorry, that one threw me off. It looked like they were going the wrong way along the corner straight there, but they're definitely not. They're definitely still giving one another a slipstream. Nice. Woodcut is behind Elias Lindner. Let's have a look back and see. And Lindner must have got it done over the mountain. Wow. And then he's just had a wiggle through the corner. You didn't happen to catch that one, did you, Sarah? Sorry, it's almost like I've nearly forgotten. It's almost like I've forgotten you were there, and I've forgotten myself. Oh, and you're, yeah, so you're having a couple of issues trying to get into the lobby as well. We've still got the screens here, so you wouldn't have caught that. But yeah, certainly for it being AMS, Sarah, you've got to be massively impressed with the opening lap from all the drivers. The top three keeping it nice and close, and that little group at the battle at the back, the four drivers at the back, keeping it nice and close as well. We've got two solid groups battling away here.
Yeah, they're all keeping it quite close together, which is really impressive around a tricky and twisty kind of track like this.
Yeah, it certainly is, as we can see just how close the McLaren's getting through the cutting there, and with these temperatures as well, let's not underestimate just how much pressure. Talking about pressure, Owen Ilsley, look at how close he is to the back of the Mercedes. You can see every single strain of carbon fibre in that rear splitter. Ilsley, he had Shogun have to take the defensive line there. Ilsley was right on that inside apex. He was temporarily in the lead of the race according to the telemetry at the bottom. He's taken the fastest lap, and he has taken Obieta for a bit of a ride there. Obieta cannot keep up. He's really pushing, and at Hell's Corner he's pushed that little bit too hard, and he's put two wheels on the gravel. He has now left Ilsley to concentrate on the McLaren, and the Mercedes ahead. We're on board with the McLaren into Quarry Bend. It's Ilsley. He's taken the early fastest lap, really signalling his intent. The Mercedes seem to be keen to put two wheels on the gravel. If Ilsley can keep this between the Mayo and the Mustard, he could win this race purely by default, although the Mercedes there, Shogun, absolutely throws it through the cutting. What an exit he got there. Full commitment from the Mercedes driver. Look at the gap that he's got already. That is a phenomenal exit he's just got. That is what you call commitment there, Sarah. We were talking about how dangerous these walls are. We've seen how dangerous the curves are. Shogun flying through one of the most trickiest off-camber corners on the course, and he gets himself an extra 4/10 for his effort. So well worth it, but a risky move and well pulled off there just to get that gap ahead.
Yeah, risky move, but he's definitely on the limits. He's using all of the track possible, getting as close as he can to the wall, and that exit speed is phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. That's exactly what it's all about. Any pro race driver will tell you, patience and corner exit speed. Never underestimate how valuable those two are to a race driver. It does look like Ilsley got the corner exit speed memo then, because out of the Forest elbow, he has got the exit he needed, which, let's face it, not a bad place to get it. Oh, and that is Obieta then. I'm not sure he was close enough to be in the slipstream. He is just pushing too hard to catch up. He needs to be that a little bit smoother. He's almost got the pace. He was about 8/10 off these two in qualifying, I believe. We didn't quite get the timetables at the end. We'll try and get, at the end of quality, we'll get them at the end of the race just to confirm the times. But he really is pushing to keep up, and it's causing him issues. Just needs to take that couple of % off. And the two up ahead, they're getting close enough to battle. Shogun's having to take the odd defensive line. He's also just taken the fastest lap by going 1/10.5 quicker than Ilsley managed. The rest of the field are spreading themselves out ever so slightly. Even Daniel Zlatnik struggling to keep up with the pace ahead. He has dropped Elias Lindner behind though. 6 seconds back equilibriously. Blythe is 6 seconds down on Woodcote, so Woodcote looking good to bring him a 5th position at the moment. Touch wood, no curse of the commentator. Hopefully there's still 18 minutes of Bathurst still to go. Mount Panorama, and it is a very, oh wow, and again the curves, he's just touched that wall in the McLaren. I can assure you that was a full Code Brown moment there for the McLaren. He has carried the extra pace. Is he going to be able to hold on to this when he's fully mounting that curve like Tony Hawk going for a rail slide? He's down, he's almost into the back of him. That's surely too much pace. How has he avoided contact there? Let's go back and let's see if my brain can unscramble what just happened there. Ilsley really pushing. We've gone back maybe a touch too far, but Sarah, we're talking about on the edge. These two really are on the edge. I have no idea how Ilsley managed to hang on to that there, and if we're being honest, I'm not sure he might either.
Yeah, no, as you were watching on board there, he was getting very close to the wall, touching it maybe a little bit, but maybe the wall gave him a little bit more speed, because after he kind of tapped the wall, he was manning all of the curves and getting right on the back of our leader.
Yeah, he almost jumped into the boot of the leader as well. As you can see, that was where it almost came undone. Wow. And then through McPhillamy Park, he gets the exit curve all okay, so he does carry that extra pace, really does have that car on the edge, but that curve there, that is a curve too far. That's going to cause problems, and he's almost thrown it right into the back of the Mercedes badge. Precision driving up at the front, and what has that done? It's brought Ander Obieta that little bit closer. Why? Because Obieta settled his lap down a bit. He kept it between the Mayo and the Mustard on that last lap, and it's found him 6/10 on the driver ahead, the same 6/10 that Shogun has now got between himself and Ilsley. That gap now up to 1.2 seconds. The McLaren might have made a mistake too far. Shogun has got the fastest lap, and that previous lap there almost as quick, within half a second. That is consistency. Remember, this is the AMS. This is why I commentate, because the AMS are this good. Brian Bond. It's funny because it's true. We can all join in on that one. Brian Bond. He is in the McLaren. He is behind a battered BMW. David Blythe, Spartan Racing, showing the Spartan spirit at the moment. That BMW not factory showroom ready, you would say, at the minute. Can confirm these cars are held together with super glue, hopes and dreams. None of those three items stand a chance against concrete. Can confirm it's the laws of physics, and Blythe's BMW has been on the receiving end of a beating there. It does look like he's had a fairly full frontal impact, so hopefully his aerodynamics have been equally affected, because I can assure you the only thing worse than a crash in one of these cars is a one-sided crash, where one side of the car wants to do one thing, the other side wants to do the other, And yeah, it does make for an entirely different lap. It does look like Bond might be carrying a bit of damage there as well. Bonnet flapping a little bit. He's certainly showing a lot more pace than the BMW at the minute. Any stories I was telling about the McLarens being a couple of kilometres down on pace in a straight line. I'm not sure Brian's carried a bit much pace there, and he's just run that bit deep. He was getting a bit close. Maybe the slipstream caught him out ever so slightly. But that is going to give the battered and bruised Blythe's BMW a bit of a break, as he will have at least another lap in 6th position. As battered as that thing is here, it doesn't matter how damaged the car in front of you is, overtaking over the mountain on Bathurst, it's not always massively advisable. It is, yeah, just for all the reasons we've talked about. It is one of the most difficult tracks to overtake. Doesn't stop people trying, and occasionally pulling off, but it is. As far as, oh, he's touched the wall. Obieta again. That's 2 questions that are going to go Sarah's way. So 1, overtaking, very difficult, and as we observe Obieta, he's been gifted a shot back at 2nd, and he just keeps pushing that a little bit too hard, and he's now had multiple contacts with the wall, Sarah. Sometimes you just need to take 5% off, so the overtaking question is kind of out the window now because Obieta's not catching up. But yeah, Obieta, just the KISS method, surely. Keep it simple, stupid. And yeah, bring it home to the end. He is now really going to struggle to catch up after Ilsley almost gifted him, did gift him a solid shot at 2nd place.
Yeah, like, around this track, it's so dangerous to overtake. Especially with the concrete walls staring you in the face. You never know, if you go a little bit too wide, you could get damage that could lose you just a load of positions, not just one. But yeah, I think Obieta needs to kind of bring it home, bring that P3 home, ready for next week's race. Because around here, like you say, when you get damage, it affects your race the whole way through.
It really does, and that damage again, it was on one side of the car. We cannot stress enough just how important all those little bits of carbon fibre fins you see on the front of the car. If you lose that on one side of the car, forget it. And not only that, the tyres. Your tyres will react badly to that. They will start to overheat. They'll have too much pressure in them. You'll lose too much grip. They'll grain a lot more, which means you'll have less rubber on them. I think we're getting the point. It is a law of diminishing returns, to say the least. Obieta, he's on the podium at the minute, but he's got Daniel Zlatnik behind him, and you can see Daniel Zlatnik's Porsche. 'Tis pristine, Your Honour. So I would say that Obieta might actually be in trouble. Sorry, I've just looked at the timing, and Obieta is obviously well down on his pace, and Zlatnik has been lapping consistently between 2:04.0 and 2:04.4. Wow, if he keeps that up, Obieta, he's not only blown a chance at 2nd, he's going to blow his chance at a podium as well. That's maybe his plan, though. It'll avoid him the 10 kilograms of ballast next week. It does seem like a fairly extreme way to go about it. But you never know. Zlatnik, either way, he certainly will not be complaining. We're going to potentially see an overtake over the top of the mountain, or is Brian Bond going to keep it well holstered until they get to the bottom? Oh no, he's carrying a bit much speed in the slipstream again over the top of the mountain and through McPhillamy Park. They get themselves that ever so slightly close. Bond here just needs to... Oh no, but he's completely missed his brakes, although is he cleverly... No, he's not. Oof. Ow. Yeah, that was a massive breath in by both of us there. I was going to give him credit for opening up the corner, Sarah, and looking for the cutback on the exit, which would have been a phenomenal move around that corner. But yeah, no, Bond just not respecting the track, and again highlighting it's difficult to get an overtake. You need to sit behind the driver behind until you get to these overtaking opportunities, or you end up with damage, and that is another lap that the battered and bruised Blythe's BMW will remain up in 6th position.
Yeah, again, like last week, I think we have a lot of wounded warriors out there at the moment, and definitely a track like this, when you get in the slipstream of the driver in front and you get in that dirty air, it just makes everything 10 times harder.
Yeah, it really does. And that is, my apologies, trying to be clever, I've brought up the... There we go. Perfect, that's supposed to be there. There we go. So yes, yeah, mistakes all over the track, and it is going to cost people positions. That time you see Bond now, 2 seconds down the road with just under 10 minutes to go. Owen Ilsley, he is looking good at the moment. He is actually closed in on Shogun, and he has taken the fastest lap. He's now within 1.1 seconds, and if I was a betting man, I'd say that's a lot closer than 1.1 seconds as they head along the Conrod Straight. 7 laps under their belt, and it is 0.420 seconds, less than half a second. The McLaren right out on the left-hand side as they fly into the chase, heavy on the brakes. You can hear those things squealing. Oh, and he's gone too deep. He's gone too deep. He's done an Obieta. He's run too deep into the chase. He's almost lost the back of the car. That's a very good hold. And we've just missed it. Oh, there you can see the extra steering input there. And the McLaren driver, that is the third mistake, and he's pulled into the pits. Yeah, sorry, complete silence there. Do not adjust your audio. This the commentator that cannot shut up and even let his co-commentator answer a question was stunned into silence there. Owen Ilsley sets the fastest lap, comes into the pit. Sarah, has he gone out to race on quali fuel, do we think?
I was too stunned to speak there as well. I was shocked when he was pulling into the pits. I was like, oh no, what's happened? But yeah, maybe potentially, like, he may have gone on quali fuel or slightly less than needed, but let's see if he gets back out there in time to finish the race.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe it was a tyre issue as well. I mean, it is 41 degrees. He did make a couple of mistakes, but surely not that much tyre wear. It has to be a fuel thing. Daniel, last year's champion, driving a new car this season. He's only on the podium. I did think it was going to be Obieta that was going to throw a podium position his way, and Obieta is going to get that second position anyway, so all that hard work and effort, it will pay off. He now really does need to just keep this between the mayo and the mustard. He's already pushing the low 2-minute 4s. He's got a decent gap back to Zlatnik. I wouldn't be pushing my luck too much. Just bring that car home and bring home that second position. That is an absolute gift. Owen Ilsley is back out on track, and he is moving. He is in 5th position. Elias Lindner no longer in the race. I did say the Ferrari is an absolute handful around this track, especially in Forest Elbow. It really, they'll just all types of lift off everything. The back end of the car just will not behave. But Lindner not going to finish this race. Raiden Shogun is going to finish the race with a much clearer rear view mirror than anyone could anticipate, especially himself and Ilsley. The fastest lap to Ilsley in the McLaren behind the Mercedes really must have had Shogun fearing a long drawn out battle to the checkered flag, and potentially a side-by-side duel into the chase on the final lap. I certainly know that is what I was anticipating, but no, that is not to be. So we will keep an eye on the broadcast chat, which I have looked at a couple of times, but then things do keep happening. Good evening to everyone in the chat. I know I said a quick hello when we first started, but we've got a spoon-fed Badger. Hopefully it's excellent Badger feed on the menu this evening. Pedro Nicholas, RTO Esports, Mr. Joe Boyle himself, Linksy. Make sure you give Linksy a follow on Twitch as well. By the way, phenomenal Twitch streamer. Speaking of phenomenal Twitch streamers, it's midnight ISO. He's not so bad. Let's get on, he said. Race time. That shows you how long the racing action has been coming thick and fast. It still is. Nicholas saying, I find the AMs way more exciting than the Silvers and the Pros. Nicholas, you know what? That is often, yeah, that is something that we do here often in the racing. And Alpha Dog Meat, or sorry, Alpha Doghouse, because he's in the doghouse for not racing this season. Oh, you are racing this season. Oh, what? I completely forgot your name again. You did tell me what your real name was last week, but you're not racing this week. But Brian is missing you running at the back. Midnight says, I am that bad. Of course, Sarah Hockey joining me this evening. Knows all too well just how much of a nightmare Midnight is, all the F1 podcast. Oh,
Zlatnik loses it. Coming out of the chase.
Oh, wow. Great spot there.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's absolutely worth interrupting. That's not an apology needed there. Let's keep an eye on this one. Yes, so it does look like the chase. Great spot. And that is Nige Woodcut up to third.
I was going to mention him before. Woodcut has had quite a quiet race, but just nice and rewarding. Just keeping it calm, keeping it cool.
He has indeed, and it's exactly what he did last week as well. That's exactly what Woodcut did last week. He is the absolute personification of the racing phrase. To finish first, you must first finish. And you can have all the one-lap pace that you want. If you are a hot lapper, well done to you. If you can consistently lap through a race and bring the car home in one piece in a better position than you started, you have my eternal praise, I would say. I'm not sure that's quite the word I was looking for there. But yeah, nice Woodcut once again. His car, again, don't want to be looking to do any curse of the commentator hoodoos here, but he did it last week and brought home the podium, and he's going to do the same again this week. Team Snail, they had a race. The tortoise and the hare had a race, and it turns out the snail won. So nice Woodcut looking to bring home that podium. Raiden Shogun still up at the front. Obieta in second. Nige Woodcut in third. Daniel Zlatnik in fourth position. Owen Ilsley 6 seconds down the road in fifth place. David Blythe in sixth position still, and Brian Bond running in that seventh place. 2 minutes left to go, and Raiden Shogun, I'm sure, will be more than delighted with his finishing position. Elias Lindner, leader in the AM Championship, out of the race. Raiden will take the championship lead into next week. Nige Woodcut will take second. Brian Bond will maintain his position over Baz O'Neill. Alpha Dog me in the chat. I can't believe I forgot that one. Apologies. Daniel Zlatnik will overtake David Blythe as well. We'll see a couple more AMs back next week, hopefully, and you can still sign up as well. As you can see, Mr. Boyle himself has shared the SimGrid and Discord links in the chat. So please do jump on, get yourself involved in the racing. Still plenty of track time to come at some phenomenal tracks. Again, the calendar that Linksay puts together, he knows driving. Indianapolis next time out. Then we've got Oulton Park, although that one is questionable for me. We've got Imola, Barcelona, Paul Ricard, and then Kyalami. Oh yes, what a season finale that is going to be. I absolutely love that. And of course, with the new format as well, the top 3 drivers from each race receive that ballast for next week. And in fact, while that's running, let's have a look and see how close it was in qualifying. It is Shogun, of course, Woodcut and Zlatnik that have got the ballast, but just we can see there it was Obieta that took 2 purple sectors. He got to within 2 tenths. I said 8 tenths, so he definitely did have the pace. He was a lot closer to Ilsley than Ilsley was to Shogun in the end. As we can see, Shogun comfortably lapping. This will be the start of his final lap. 3.8 miles separate Shogun from a race win and a seat.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, go.
Ilsley in the mountains is facing the wrong way.
Okay. Oh, he really is. That is absolutely... Oh, even in the replay.
And that is a hard place to do a 3-point turn.
That is what we call in the industry, so in commentating terms, that's known as an Austin Powers. If anyone's seen the Austin Powers films and he has to do a 76-point turn in the little... you all know, but yeah, that is an absolute certifiable nightmare. Yeah, Owen Ilsley then, whatever brought him back in the pits, he's still going to finish. Brian Bond is in the pits, so his McLaren has bit the dust. It won't see the end. Ilsley's McLaren will, so he's going to bring him the fastest lap in 6th position. This championship is going right down to the wire, and I'll tell you, if Nige Woodcock wins the AMS without winning a race, do not be surprised. That's an Austin Power turn, Raven, you beat me to it. Excellent stuff. Oh, Brian wrecked it. Brian, to be fair, it does look like your front right is a lot lower than you would normally expect to see the tyre. Raiden Shogun, he is a lot lower than the top of the mountain. He has descended 174 metres for the final time. He heads through the chase chicane for the final time, for the second time in the championship. He's going to bring home a podium position in the RTO Season 7 AMS. This time it is going to be the top spot. Brian Bond's got 4 minutes of damage. There is the race leader taking the checker flag, flashing those lights furiously. That is a phenomenal drive from lights to flag for Shogun. Obieta drags it across the line to make it an all Mercedes top 2 spots. On the podium, and Nige Woodcock does it again. Captain Consistency brings home back-to-back podiums, 3rd place again, and that will see him take 2nd place in the championship again. If Nige Woodcock wins the AMS without winning a race, do not be surprised. Daniel Zlatnik in the Porsche brings home 4th position, and it is Blythe. He is going to get himself 5th place in the BMW, which looks like it's sustained that little bit more damage. Bond is back out of the pits. Ilsley is going to finish in 6th position. The cameraman's struggling to keep up, and he's really nursing that thing home. Bond, a lap down out the pits, and he's spun on the pit exit and RTG'd, so that will bring that one to an end. But Ilsley crosses the line. That, Sarah, is a race at Bathurst, absolutely personified there. Shogun and Woodcock keeping it the cleanest and bringing home the podiums, but some solid action there from the AMS. It was phenomenal race.
Yeah, I've got to agree. That was an amazing race. Obviously, Shogun and Woodcock carrying the ballast from last week as well. So they managed to carry it quite well and got up on the podium yet again. I've got to say, Woodcock in the Aston Martin, he seems quite in tune with it at the moment. He's not too bothered about kind of getting it in the podium positions in qualifying, but when it comes to the race, he's keeping it cool, calm and collective and getting that 3rd place yet again.
Yeah, he really is. Sorry, I'm hesitating because I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. There we go. But yeah, incredible race again. And massive congratulations to everyone that did manage to finish that. You get a look and see just how close to the walls the drivers need to take it. I am going to quickly reset that. But that was the AMS for round number 2. That was their 2nd race. The ballast will be applied, and we'll see them back again for Indianapolis Speedway next week. They will have themselves the same format. We'll bring up highlights of them in a moment. Again, sponsored by Track Titan. you can get yourself a 1 month plus membership for free and 30% off the next month with the code RTO Titan at checkout. Track Titan is the easiest way to find how to cut your lap times and see visually where you can improve to other drivers on their leaderboards or even with your friends and fellow community racers. Challenge your friends to get faster lap times at different track and car combos and see where you or they are faster to be number one. Prizes for first, second and third in all three divisions, the AMs, Silvers and the Pros, and that's saving for the viewers as well. Get yourself on board. Massively recommended piece of software by Mr. Linksay himself, so you know it is going to be good. We have a blank... No, we don't. There we go. Some highlights from the AMs for a moment or two. We are about to return now with the Pros and the Silvers. Absolutely incredible show they put on last week, Sarah, and cannot wait to get started this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. Before, obviously, we started this, you said it was going to be a scintillating race, and it definitely delivered. The tricky conditions, but amazing race for both the Silvers and Pros last week.
Indeed it was, and we're going to see them battling it out again. It is going to be two races again. There will be a qualifying session before each race, and there will be a qualifying session before each race, and then ballast will be added. More importantly, ballast will be added to the drivers, as was with the AMs. So ballast from last week's race 2 has been added. You can tell I'm stumbling here. I've completely made a mess of something in the background. But yes, Sarah, why don't you give us the full format for the Pros and the Silvers, please, while I try and untangle myself in the background a bit.
Of course, John. So, for the Pro and the Silver categories, we'll be treated to a 16-minute qualifier tonight. 8 minutes for each class, with the Silvers starting the first 8 minutes and the Pros taking the last 8. The qualifier is then followed by two 25-minute races. Again, there is no pit stop required within this championship. For the top 3 finishers in tonight's Pro and Silver race, one will have a success ballast applied for the following race this evening, race 2. So, for first place, it's 30 kilograms. Then second, it's 20 kilograms. And third, it's 10 kilograms. After race 1, the top 3 from race 2, the podium will then carry a success ballast into round 3 at Indianapolis next week.
They will indeed, and it was to Raven. Where's my skin? Says Flint. I have no idea. If it's on Awesome Sim Racing, we did the update on Awesome Sim Racing. So if it's not showing, it would definitely be worth checking on there to see if it's been uploaded onto their servers correctly. We are, and this is completely frozen for me now again. We are looking at the standings for the Silvers. As Sarah said, they're about to take to track for their qualifying, which will be split into 2. 8 minutes for the Silvers, 8 minutes for the Pros. There is the Silver standings. Bear with me 2 seconds while I just quickly flick. There we go. What I need is you and you, please. Thank you very much. Well, in fact, sorry, we will start with the Silver standings, which completely throws Sarah under the bus as well. It was Fabrizio Butera that's finished on the top spot last week. Tom Solis in second. Nick Cooper in third place. In the overall standings, back-to-back podiums for Butera. Tom Solis with a race win in race 2, which brought him into the top 3. Nick Cooper with a win in race 1, but could only manage a 7th in race number 2. Emmanuel Raji finished in 3rd and 4th to give him 4th place in the silvers, with Richard Gasson 6th and a podium again, a 3rd place, but 2 points behind Raji at the minute. Ryan McCord with a 4th and a 6th place, seeing himself now 54 points, 6th in the standing, Sarah.
Yep, and then next we have Stuart Pryor with an 8th and a 5th place finish. Facina again taken 9th place in both races in 8th place. 9th place we have Marcel Schneitman with 7th and 13th. We then have Gallardi in 11th place and 10th place in the races, taking 10th place overall. Then we have Proyadko in 11th place in the standings, with taking a 13th and an 8th place finish in the races. Then we have Paul Whitburn taking the 12th spot in the championship, with a 10th place and a 12th place finish in the both races we had last week. And last but not least, in 13th place overall, we have Fangiro taking 12th and 11th place in last week's races.
And yeah, extra kudos to the commentators for getting so many of those names so correct. In the pros, we have Liam Page taking the top spot, 2 podiums, but no race win. To bring it on, please work for me now. There we go. Excellent. Yeah, Liam Page, 2nd and 3rd, 2 podiums, 73 points to Gerd Revzig. 1st and 6th after an unfortunate incident in the opening lap. There we go. In the opening lap, saw him demoted down to 6th, but still 2 points ahead of Matt Whitburn, who brought home the race win after a tough fought race. Brought home a well-deserved win. To see him 3rd in the championship, Ben Nergard, another driver making it onto the podium. It was race number 2. We saw Ben take a podium position for 68 points and 4th in the championship. Paul Sidlowski on 57 sits in 5th after round 1. Watson and Whitaker, the 3 W's, 53, 49 and 42 points respectively, see themselves 6th, 7th and 8th place. In the standings, we still do have, actually I probably could have put on highlights from last week, we still have a couple of minutes before the silvers take to the track, Sarah, but the track, as we've mentioned a couple of times, it is Bathurst. We've seen it's already a killer, but a fascinating track nonetheless.
Yeah, I've got to agree there. And like you alluded to earlier, despite its worldwide fame as being a racing circuit, it also remains an entirely public road used to access the numerous homes, farms and other properties which sit alongside it. Cars can drive in both directions around the circuit for no charge on non-race days. But be warned, there is a strict speed limit on this track. It's 37 miles per hour and police regularly patrol the circuit to enforce it, unfortunately. As of November 2022, the official lap record is held by Christopher Mize, who set a time of 1 minute and 59 seconds at the 2018 Challenge Bathurst event, driving an unrestricted Audi R8 LMS. French sports car driver Alexandre Premat described the circuit as a mix of the Nürburgring Nordschleife, Road Atlanta and Laguna Seca. It has also been referred to as the Blue Hell, as a play on the Nürburgring's nickname, the Green Hell.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I understand. Sorry, I'm just quickly distracted by something else here, something else technical in the background. We were having a couple of issues with some of the liveries. Those issues do appear to have continued this week, unfortunately. And it is the RTO ones that are affected. Joe's watch, I was going to message him there, but he will. But now, yeah, we don't have any of the RTO liveries, unfortunately. Let's see. And yeah, the other Porsche isn't there. Let's see what the McLaren. So yeah, we've got yeah, so there more. So yeah, we're in free practice at the moment. is season number 7. Season 6, phenomenal. Make sure you go back and watch that. It is available on the YouTube channel you are currently watching on. Grayson for the arms, he's pulling your chain. Okay, well, it's ironic because it's now. Nige, how we doing? Another podium. Oh, like PR. Just for the record, Paul Ricard has been dropped. Go on. I mean, Paul Ricard is good, but the Red Bull Ring is better. Said 100% of Ravens that were asked in our poll. I can definitely confirm that. No fake news on that one. So no Paul Ricard, but we will be going to the Red Bull Ring. Excellent stuff. We're seeing the Silvers come out on track. Of course, a couple of seasons ago, the drivers only had 7 minutes to qualify each, but Joe felt that was a little bit restrictive, and he must have come over all Christmassy and decided to give the drivers an extra minute. The generosity knows no bounds. So yeah, that is 8 minutes each for the Silvers, and then 8 minutes each for the Pros. We'll bring you full coverage of that. That's completely the wrong button. There is the button that we are looking for. But yeah, in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What we're going to do. Bear with us a second, folks. We will be back in a moment. I'm going to see if we can try another update on the liveries, because there is quite a few that I seem to be missing, including ones that were here last week. So bear with us for a moment, and do please enjoy the workmanship of Messer Sigurd Revzig. Not only an absolute talent out on track, but puts together these little bad boys as well. Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you. I do. It's the thing, I know when I mess up though. Like when it's the thing, I know when I've read it wrong, and I'm like, oh shit. Is this something the drivers are doing then, like for the liveries? Because
Hello again. Yes, with the Taylor, I was just trying to fix some liveries. Apologies for the conversation you overheard between Sarah and I. I was just fixing a couple of things in the background, so apologies if there was anything you heard that sounded inappropriate. It was just, yeah, a conversation between the two of us to get things sorted in the background. But unfortunately, yeah, the liveries still not seem to be working, so we'll see if we can get that fixed for next week. Yeah, absolute heartbreaker. The Silvers, though, already well into their qualifying, and it's Richard Gasson for RG Motorsports in the Lamborghini that's taking the top spot. Nick Cooper in second in the McLaren, and Tom Solis in the Ferrari, currently running in third. Raji is in, and now his livery stopped working since it done. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Stuart Pryor and Facina 6th and 7th at the moment. Whitburn, Priadko and McCord still to set times. Nick Cooper up at the front. Good to see though there, Sarah. 3 different manufacturers up at the top again. It really is good to see that it's all down to the drivers, and the balance of performance that the series is using really is working well to bring us some close racing.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's always good to have some different cars on the podium. Well, in qualifying, it's always good to see different drivers up there as well.
Yeah, it really is, yep. All down to that driving talent. It is Cooper at the moment. The Silvers qualifying will be coming to an end very shortly. They've got a minute left to set a time, or to at least cross the line and get a lap started. As Whitburn doesn't have a time set at the moment, neither does Ryan McCord, whose RTO livery has worked. So we do, and so is James Whittaker's. And that looks like another Mercedes there might have worked as well. Is that Ben Nergat? Okay, so yeah, anyway, stop focusing on the liveries. We've got Nick Cooper, 2-minute .987, half a second ahead of Gasson. Butera in the pit, so he's done with qualifying because there's only 16 seconds left. He's not getting a warm-up lap done. Raji and Pryor in the pits as well. Priadko is going to start this one from the back of the grid. As Gasson comes through the final couple of corners, Cooper ahead, looking to go a bit quicker, looking to cement his position as the top Silver. Crosses the line. He does go a tenth quicker, and there we can see the pros quickly jumping out the pits now that the 8 minutes has been reached and breached. We'll jump on with Sigurd. As we see the Silver qualifying session coming to an end. And yeah, there we can see the unballasted car of Nick Cooper. Of course, had a bit of a rough race last week, and we did say would that benefit him this week with having no ballast on the car? Yes, it will. All 3 purple sectors at a 2-minute .8 and a 7/10 of a second gap back to Gasson. Butera finishing in 3rd in the quali session. Solis in 4th, with Whitburn 5th. Raji in 6th place. Pryor and Facina on row 4 for the Silvers. Schneepman, Priadko and McCord. No time set, although McCord might still be able to set a time actually. Yes, he will. So yeah, McCord is still on to set a time. So we'll see what he can do in the BMW as the pros start to set their outlap. And it does add that extra dimension in quali as well, Sarah. Being such a difficult track, it's 8 minutes is barely enough to get 4 laps in, and one of those is going to be your outlap, no time from McCord. So yeah, if you make a mistake during qualifying, I mean, it is effectively for all intensive purposes, a one-lap shootout during the quali session here, with the 8 minutes quali time and the mountain the way it is. You can't afford to make any mistake. Maybe put down a banker and then push, but it really, yeah, for all those reasons, again, from the race, it makes quali just as tricky as the race is as well.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. I think practice plays a huge part in these sort of tracks, because you don't have enough time to really set kind of optimal laps, as they say, when you only get a few laps in qualifying. So yeah, I think a lot of the drivers will kind of play on the practice that they've had during the week.
Yeah, I think they will. Sorry, just mentioned, yeah, so just early, yeah, so quality is tricky, sorry. Just checking if we can see if we can get something going on for the deliveries, but I don't think we will before the end. There is Dan Watts, no stranger to the top spots in these championships. Wasn't to be last time out though. He took a drive-through in race number 2 for an unfortunate contact with teammate Revzig in turn 1. So 8th place in race 2 for Watts. He did get on to the podium in race number 1. That 10 kilograms of ballast really took its toll, that independently, in race 2. Will we see him bounce back in the BMW here for race number 3? And this is certainly an interesting one as well, Sarah. We were talking last week about how one of the drivers, I believe it was Cooper, who's just taken pole position, could be a good idea to avoid the ballast. And around Bathurst, we've seen how difficult it is to overtake. So maybe finishing 4th or off the podium in race 2 last week, actually not too bad an idea here for the opening round, and potentially looking to finish maybe 4th even in race number 1, so that you're ballast free for race number 2. It's an interesting game of chess that the drivers could be playing in the background as well, with the track being the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. If you kind of keep behind 3rd place, I think he could be on for a podium again tonight for this first race, because we've seen around a track like this, it's very difficult. If the driver makes a mistake and he's right behind him, he could claim that 3rd place.
Yeah, he really could, and he's just claimed the top spot in the pros. It's almost as if I knew he was about to do that, and that's why we were watching. Paul Sidlowski, my tip for the season, much like Nige Woodcock in the AMS, Sidlowski could do really well in this championship without actually winning a race. The consistency that he shows is pretty impressive, and at the minute he's 25 hundredths ahead of Revzig in 3rd place for the pros, 4th place overall. So it just goes to show you how good the time that Nick Cooper set is. Still ahead of the pros. Gasson as well, still sitting in 5th position. Flint in the chat. Nick goes to the pros. All RTO Pro section this week. Will Nick Cooper show them all up? He just might. He just might. The McLaren certainly staking a claim for the top spots. Ben Nergard. In fact, I think. Oh no, Dan Watts is going to get closer if he brings home that time. Sidlowski as well. Ben Nergard in the Mercedes flies through the chase. He's coming into Murray's Corner. Amazingly, not named after the Scottish tennis player. Now, who would have thunk it? There is the Mercedes across the start-finish line. Does go quicker, almost identical to Gasson, but Gasson in the silver stays ahead, and Paul Sidlowski takes pole position. Don't be surprised if Sidlowski wins the race as well. Let me just throw that disclaimer in there. That is 6 manufacturers in the top 6 with a minute and a half to go. The pros are continuing on where they left off from last week. It is close. Only 2/10 separating the top 2 there, Sarah. And Nick Cooper from the silvers, his time really standing the test of time, I guess, against the pros as well. We're in for a phenomenal race. This qualifying really is the precursor here.
Yeah, what a time from Cooper there. Definitely showing the pros that he's kind of ready to race with them in both races tonight. I was just thinking as well, Gaston, will he have a little bit more luck on his side this week than he did last week?
Yeah, fingers crossed. If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have had any last week. Yep, Linksy in the chat as well. Gasson is looking good. He is indeed. Row 3 at the minute, ahead of Nergard, who's in the pit, so he is done with qualifying. Watts is still out, but he is not green at the minute. Neither is Revzig. Paul Sidlowski in the Audi really is living up to the hype I was giving him last week as one to watch for the series. Here comes Jordan Watson. He is about to take a big chunk of time as well. He's going to set a good time. He could really be in the mix. Not quite 8. Well, he is in the mix. He's only 8/10 off a pole. Finds himself in 7th position. Sidlowski comes around the final few corners. Revzig is going quicker along the Conrod straight. Dan Watts crosses the line, doesn't improve. Revzig heads into the chase. Does need a fairly big improvement. It doesn't look like he's carrying enough time, but we have seen drivers leave time in the chase and make me look foolish in qualifying sessions not so long ago. Revzig not quite about to do the same. Is he going to be close enough? Himself and Watts, talk about inseparable. And it's the ball in Watts' corner. It is Sidlowski into the pits. The Audi driver will take pole position with a 2:07.95. That is a phenomenal time from Sidlowski and a phenomenal qualifying. And look at the mix of manufacturers through the field. Audi, McLaren, BMW, Porsche, Lambo, Mercedes. It's not until Jordan Watson's BMW do we get a duplication. Top Ferrari though, 9th position overall. Sad at times, but 4th in the silvers. 5 silvers in the top 10, with Whittaker starting down in 13th overall. And you can see the ballast that's been applied. Again, that'll be applied in race number 2. But Sidlowski taking 2 purple sectors. Cooper taking a purple sector as well, and a seat at the big table. He's on the front row, and that, Sarah, is an ideal place to be. They talk about a lot of races, qualifying is vanity, finishing position is sanity, but getting yourself on the front row of the grid at the start of Bathurst, again, for reasons that you and I have mentioned multiple times, that is exactly what you need to be doing.
Yeah, that's arguably the best seat in the house on a track like this. Kind of follow the leader for maybe a few laps and maybe potentially even fight for the lead at some point.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Cooper for the overall race win. He did see Nick Cooper is in the chat. Good evening, Nick. Phenomenal chat. Hopefully not listening too much to the broadcast now. Again, we do hope you are watching, but don't let that put you off your driving in the background. You can always go back and watch it again. It will be there for everyone to watch. But he did say Coops has been practicing hard on this track. Stop that talk, he says, about Nick going to the pros with that kind of pace. Flint is looking for 50 kilograms of ballast to be applied to Cooper's car. 20 for the pros and 30 for the silvers. That's it. Flint is coming. We've got Lorek in the chat. Good evening. Linksy just dishing out the ballast there. The drivers will be starting very soon. It is the RTO Track Titan GT3 Season 7. This is the pros and the silvers. They will have back-to-back 25-minute races. The AMs on an 8-race series. The pros and silvers, 16 races separate them from those prizes from the sponsors, as well as being crowned Season 7 champion at RTO. 2 races already in the bag. We have another 2 races coming this evening, and this is race number 1. I think you're missing some liveries, mate. An astute observation, young man. Almost went into full Scottish sarcasm mode there. But we won't do that because I do enjoy the broadcasting career. There is the foot down, it's the lights, it's flat out, and it's into turn number 1. It's a good move by Sidlowski. He's held the inside line. Jordan Watson up to 3rd position. Did I miss something in qualifying? Something's gone on there. Jordan Watson's up to 3rd position. Dan Watts in 4th. Revsing in 5th. Nerga, sorry, I've got myself confused some way, somehow. But Watson, yeah, he is up there in 2nd position. In the silvers, it's still Nick Cooper leading the way, as we can see. Paul Sidlowski's got a good breakaway from the front of the pack. Down at the back, everyone seems to have made it through nice and neatly. Priadko now up several positions. It says he is 16, but he does look like he's got more cars behind him. There we go, confirmation of the 13th position, so Priadko's had a phenomenal start there. Facina down at the back. Ryan McCord looking a bit sideways through the cut. Marcel Schneepman looking very solid. Paul Sidlowski's Audi is loving the opening lap at the mountain. Oh, as they head into McPhillamy Park, they're using the killer curb. We saw upset so many arms, and wow, that McLaren really does mount the curb down through Skyline. He does fend off the advances of Watson in the BMW. Watson ahead of Watts and Revzig. The RTO2 once again inseparable. I could literally go back to old broadcasts and just take sound bites from previous broadcasts, and they will all still be relevant to Watts and Revzig. The two genuinely are as inseparable as it gets on the racetrack when they're racing against one another. And it's a beautiful thing to see how close they get as well. Over the mountain, everyone once again seems to have made it through first trip round, and everyone is up and down safely onto the Conrod straight. Watts, no it's not, it's Watson, sorry, in the BMW. It is absolutely on the back of the McLaren, and Nick Cooper, he's looking for the inside line, but Cooper is quicker into turn number 1. Sidlowski is going to end lap 1 with a 1.4 second lead. He is bringing this one home. Dan Watts is still very poorly, so might not finish both races. Okay. Oh, and Watson did start P3. Yes, sorry, I've got myself overly confused about something there. I'm not sure entirely what it was that went wrong with my poor little brain there. Bathurst, the heat at Bathurst, 39-degree track temperature for the pros, so not as hot as it was for the arms, but it's certainly as hot on track as it was. Sidlowski leading the way. Cooper fending off Watson. Watts fending off Revzig. That is an absolute cracker of a start there, Sarah. All 17 cars absolutely flying through. A couple of overtakes, and this tees this one up nicely for the next 22 minutes.
Yeah, and all 17 drivers relatively close together, which is nice to see around a twisty and tough track like this. I was just watching Solis. He's got Whitburn behind him, but also Butera in front of him. He's kind of in the middle. Oh, as I said, that Butera hits the wall quite. Commentator's curse, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that has gone badly wrong from there as he's heading into the parks. Let's jump on board and see what's gone wrong from there. That is through Suleiman Park. He does seem to exit McPhillamy okay, I think. Let's see if it is the curb. Yes, it is. It's exactly the same curb that was catching the McLarens out in the AM qualifying. Oh, and just very little control, trying to slam on the brakes. So Solis was coming under a bit of pressure there, but that has been relieved with an extra position he's now gained from Butera back into the pits. And oh, look how close it is as well. There is Revzig looking for a look. He's taken the fastest lap in the opening exchanges. Cooper is still taking everything Watts can throw at him. Dan Watts is still fending off Revzig. Sidlowski is taking the fastest lap as well, and he's got a 1.5 second gap up at the front. As we can clearly see, it is still Cooper leading the way in the silvers. Gasson has lost the position in the opening exchanges, but not in class. It is Sigurd Revzig that he's bowed down to. Bern Nergard is now behind him. I mean, Solis is third with Whitburn in fourth. Raji in fifth place in the silvers with Butera in the pits. He did RTG, so he's going to have to wait 2 minutes to repair the car before he can think about coming back out. all this battling going on. Paul Sidlowski is getting an absolute dream start to this race in the Audi. You can see clear bit of separation between him and the chasing pack. And Nick Cooper, it's safe to say the calls for him to be promoted to the pros will be ringing loudly in Discord this evening, you would think, Sarah, because he is doing a phenomenal job up at the front just now.
Yeah, obviously got a lot of pressure behind him with some pros staring down his neck, but he's doing a phenomenal job so far. And yeah, second place isn't nothing to shrug your shoulder at around a track like this.
Yeah, definitely, especially in this field. Dan Watts looking to fend off his teammate as well if he can. We've seen the battles that these two have had. No pit strategy for either of them to take into consideration. So this one is going to be battled out purely on the track. Butera, he did hold these brakes well. You could see the brake lights absolutely flashing on as he did well to keep it. I mean,
oh, we've had a collision.
Oh, yes, we have. Out of the chase, that is Solace and Whitburn. So it is Whitburn then. He popped out with the slipstream on Solace along the Conrod Straight. So going into the chase, this is going to be very close indeed. He didn't quite get in front on the way into the braking zone. Did he send it up the inside? Yes, he did. He's overshot the corner, which meant Solace can get the cut back. But then disaster strikes as the McLaren gets unsettled. And wouldn't you just know it, Solace did everything he could to avoid the contact there, but Whitburn's spinning car did catch the back of him. So Solace and Whitburn will have a bit of damage each and some slightly cooked tyres, but they do continue onwards in race number 1. Revzig still piling the pressure on up at the front. No pressure at all on Sidlowski in the lead. At the minute, it's all about this battle. Oh, and Cooper's touched the wall. The BMW is going to have more pace, but there's no room to get past. Cooper just needs to hold the line and regather himself very quickly there. That touch of the wall, you can see how close the BMW got. Cannot afford to do that many times. The aerodynamic damage along one side of the car, if you keep tapping the same side of the car, it's going to unsettle it. And that is something you will not find out about until you put the foot on the brakes and the car does something completely different to anything it's ever done before during any of your practice or race sessions. Along the Conrod Straight, it's Sidlowski racing away in the Audi, McLaren, Beamer, Porsche, Lambo, Mercedes, Ben Nergard. Just half a second off Richard Gasson, who's still holding 6th overall. And still holding second place in the silvers. You've got a good gap back to Raji, so might not see him put up too much of a defensive display, so don't be surprised if Nergard is past there sooner rather than later. Although we can see, look how close these drivers are. We said this last week, Sarah, and we're seeing it again. Well, first off, I'm watching up second and third. Oh, and he's gone for a big send there as he made that stick. He's absolutely fast and the furious. That is secured Revzig into Hell's Corner. Has he made that stick? He has not. Let's watch that one on the replay in Forbidden Chase Cam just to see what Revzig went for there. So this is into Murray's Corner. Absolute nose to tail. Just talking about how close these two get, and he is thinking about the side by side. He's not quite side by side into Hell's Corner, but he goes for it anyway. Throws the back end of the car out, manages to hold on to the back of it. I think they call that a 50-50 rail slide. We'll get confirmation from any Tony Hawk's fans in the chat, but that is Dan Watts. Saw that one coming. Watson, as I say, full Vin Diesel, fast and the furious there, but manages to keep it going, Sarah. Let's go RTO. I mean, they don't even know where to start. Oh, and Watson, let me interrupt Sarah for the 17th time this evening. There's Watson not quite falling the death that the McLarens have found on that curb. But nobody seems to be getting the memo, Sarah, about that McPhillamany Park curb. The McLarens are ending up in the wall and the BMWs are ending up on the gravel. And on top of that, we've got this battle between Watts and Revzig. Yeah, talk to us about anything you'd like. This is incredible.
Yeah, I've been captivated by it as well. The battle up front is, well, from Nick Cooper downwards, it's so close. I mean, Cooper's doing a phenomenal job keeping those pros behind him currently.
Yeah, he really is, and I'm sure it's a job that Paul Sidlowski is eternally grateful for. He's got a 2-second gap now back to the rest of the field. So even if Watson does get past Cooper, he's now got an ever-increasing amount of time. An ever-increasing amount of time to make up to Sidlowski ahead. Cooper's just taken the fastest lap of the race, 5 laps in. So yeah, not only is he doing a great job fending him off, he's absolutely hanging with him as far as lap times go, because he's just set the fastest one out of anyone on track. Andrew Priadko is carrying a bit of damage. The Mad Panda Motorsport Mercedes will certainly be less than amused at the condition it's in. It's a long way to go with that much damage. Facina bringing up the rear with him. Whitburn just following Ryan McCord off track there, does get ahead of him. McCord with another off track excursion sees him now in 14th position. Whitburn up to 13th. Solis, as we saw, he is now in 5th position in the silvers with Snapeman. Sorry, 6th position. Snapeman in 5th. James Whittaker has made him a few places overall, but none in the pros so far, and it's Pryor in the Aston Martin just ahead of him. Raji looking to fend off Pryor for 4th. In fact, no, Raji's on the podium. My apologies. Keep looking. Oh, and Gasson's the wrong way. Gasson is completely the wrong way, and he's going to have to hold his brakes, and that's into Skyline, and that is going to be another Sulman to McPhillamy Park curb calamity, I would, or casualty, I'm going to bet. And he's pulled up before the curb, he's tapped the wall, and wow. Yeah, and there you go, holding your brakes can cause the car to spin. Ref's missed his braking point, nudge nudge, wink wink, and you can see Richard Gasson, ever the sportsman there, not looking to make a mess of anyone else's race there, held his brakes. That curb at the top of the mountain, Sarah, it's looking to steal the limelight from this entire broadcast. The drivers are putting on a show, but that curb is definitely getting more than its fair share of camera time, and I dare say a few mementos that the drivers are leaving about with car parts coming off after collecting it. It's yeah, fun times up there.
Yeah, definitely some paintwork that's being left up there. Driver saying I was here, but it seems to be catching some people out. It's one of those corners. It's such, you've got to take it with such speed and kind of 100% conviction that sometimes it just doesn't end up going your way.
Yeah, they do say it's the thought that counts. I can't confirm in motor racing. You can think it all you want, unless you can actually make it happen on track. Yeah, bad things could happen, and those bad things are absolutely magnified around the mother of all unforgiving tracks. Here we can see the corner that we're talking about. As Sarah said, full conviction and commitment. Wow, secured on there right the way through the corner. You need to get that curve on the left hand side and then use the curve on the right to settle the car, and that is the problem. The car is unsettled when you reach that curve. A lot of drivers will use it to settle the car. Unsettled plus unsettled doesn't always equal settled. Two negatives don't necessarily make a positive. They just don't. And we're seeing some cars positively unsettled and thrown into the wall. And yeah, with the Bathurst being the way it is, the walls aren't far away at all. As you see, Marcel's statement now, he's just lost, sorry, he is behind Whittaker, my apologies, he's not just lost the position, it's Richard Gasson I'm seeing that's dropping down the order. Still on the main broadcast tool. Tom Solis is the driver behind him. There's no engine sound with that camera. There's Snapeman there in the Lamborghini. Whittaker is all over the back of Pryor again. This isn't for points, more for pride. The Budweiser Aston Martin fending off the pro driver at the moment, which absolutely entitled to do that. He's not getting quite close enough. Revsig and Watts, they're only 2 tenths apart. Did you see how I made that sound like it's not something I've said a million times before? It was amazing, eh? I was quite impressed with that as well, Sarah, thank you. But Revzig and Watts, you could just... It's just so close, Sarah. I mean, the superlative... Oh, no, now, wait a minute. We've had an overtake, and I'm going to watch back the replay because Watson is ahead of Cooper. I've missed that one there, Sarah. I don't suppose you caught that one, did you? Because I certainly did not. But Watson... he is ahead of Cooper, can confirm. He's up to second place, and Watson has got pace. Can he catch up? Oh, now that looked like a bit of lateral movement on the back of the McLaren on the way out of Murray's corner. That's a lot of M's in that sentence. Doesn't look to be carrying any damage, so apologies to Jordan Watson. That is an overtake that we have missed. Hopefully catch it in the highlight reel.
Yeah, Watson was my driver to watch last week in the tricky conditions in that BMW. He was flying, and yet again this week he's showing he's got some power behind that BMW.
He does, yeah. He's got power and he's got a bit of talent as well, it would seem. Nick Cooper taking the fastest lap, but Jordan Watson taking second spot. The gap, oh, and he's taking the fastest lap with a 201.227. Sidlowski's quickest lap with 201.340, half a tenth. Sorry, 3/4 of a tenth. I do apologise. Underselling Watson's achievements there. He's 3/4 of a tenth. Schneepman doing great recovery drive after the quali ban. I did think he started further down, so he had a quali ban from last season, from last week. After an incident, and I tell you, that is a great comeback drive. He's in 4th place actually, ahead of Gaston after Gaston's incident, and he looks like he might be taking another place as Whittaker looks to follow through, or he looks to follow Whittaker through from the last corner into turn number 1. It's going to be Whittaker, I believe. He's got his nose in front, and the Lamborghini is going to look to make the move as well if he can. That is Gaston, that is Schneepman. He's not managed to get his Lamborghini past the Aston, but the Mercedes of Whittaker most definitely has, as they head along the mountain straight and into Quarry Bend. There's a whole lot of slipstream for the 3 cars. Of course, Whittaker will be punching through the air quicker by virtue of having a car in his slipstream behind the Aston Martin. Keeps the back end in check and keeps the position for the moment, but Schneepman is absolutely moving. There's now 0.4 of a second between Revzig and Watts. Revzig someplace has taken his eye off the ball, or Watts has got the foot down. The gap between the two of them has doubled. It's now almost half a second. And the BMW and the Porsche driver still having their own titanic battle down through the mountain. We'll jump on board with Revzig through Forest Elbow. Should definitely be called Hell's Corner. What's interesting actually as well, the gap between Watson and Sidlowski is exactly the same at the end of Sector 2 as it was at the start. Oh no, it's not. Watson's just taken half a second. So there we go. Watson's taken half a second with 7 minutes left to go. Schneepman still looking for a move on Pryor. Oh, he's not quite got the start of Sector 3 quite right. He's not as close as he was down the mountain on the straight, and he needs to be there on the straight. The Aston Martin has got some good legs in a straight line, and Pryor is putting those things to use, and I think he's just about getting some slipstream from Whittaker. Equilibrious gaps of 0.6 of a second separate these 3 drivers into the chase. Oh, the Lamborghini. Oh, I saw that coming. He had a wheel on the grass as he got into the braking zone. I saw that little bit of lateral movement. We'll go into the ever forbidden chase cam and have a watch of this one. As we bring that up as well. But you can see here his back right wheel just gives... Oh no, it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. Yep, there, touch of the grass while he's on the brakes. And that is good night Vienna right there. The Lamborghini on a full spin, and he's ended up back behind Gasson and Whitburn. The only saving grace you would say there, Sarah, is he didn't touch the wall, but you don't need to touch the wall to lose places at Bathurst. A wheel, and can confirm, a wheel on the grass in the braking zone of the chase, it just won't end well.
No. Recipe for disaster, as they say. Whenever a wheel goes on any sort of grass, gravel. Oh, I was on board. I was looking on board with that as well. Ouch.
Yeah, that was a close one coming up the mountain there. We'll get another look at that incident as well as it happened. So he was looking very quick there indeed, was Whitburn. We'll get this again. Oh, and that's what happened. Gasson in the Lambo, he lost all his pace on that curve towards the cut, and he tried to go around the outside. He's touched the wall, he's tried to settle the car, he's lost steering, he's gone right back into the wall again. And again, he's going to have to hold his brakes. Not only hold his brakes, he's held his brakes all the way back to the pits. So that's another car retiring to the pits, and that is a second. Jordan Watson is down to 4th position. It's all action all the time. It's RTO racing. You cannot take your eyes off anything for a millisecond. Jordan Watson's in 4th position. I was just about to say a second in Sadlowski's favour. The gap up to 2.4 seconds. I have no idea what we're about to see, where or when. All I know is Jordan Watson is about to lose a whole lot of track position to the BMW and the Porsche behind. Revzig and Watts still unbelievably separated by 0.4 of a second, but they're now both on the pro podium, and Nick Cooper is behind them both as well, so he's succumbed to Revs and Watson. He's still leading the way in the silvers. Let's see what happens with Watson. He's making his way into the chase. He's a bit deep there. Yep, he was a bit deep. That's unsettled the car. Oh, and he's done really well to keep that out the wall. Can we get a standing ovation for Jordan Watson on that one? Sarah, if it's going to go wrong, that kind of went right from at the end there. And he's already got the position back, so I'm just going to not even let Sarah start speaking again because Watson's already taken a position. I'd apologise to Sarah, of course. Oh, and it's because Watts has Hell's Corner. Watts has Hell's Corner. Hell's Corner has had Dan Watts, shall we say. So the reason that Watson's got that position back again is because Dan Watts has made an absolute pig's ear of turn number 1 when he'd been gifted 2nd position. And if you want to talk about gifted 2nd position, hello Sigurd Revzig. All the while Paul Sadlowski is going to be completely oblivious to the madness that's going on. All he can see is positions changing and time extending. Bathurst is very much doing Bathurst things, and it is the BMW is now chasing the Porsche. Sigurd, the consistent Revzig, now finds himself up into 2nd. Jordan Watts in 3rd. Dan Watts in 4th position. Nick Cooper is still leading the way in the silvers with Ben Nergard in the pros up into 5th, and it looks like Jordan Watson isn't done yet, Sarah, as he is all over the back of the Porsche and looking for an overtake into turn number 1. It's grandstand stuff. We've only got 3 minutes to go. We need to petition for longer races here, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. I was on board with that, and they were swapping places like it was going out of fashion. But I've got to say, Watson, it kind of capitalised on that tiny mistake, and it, in the grand scheme of things, didn't actually cost him too much time.
Indeed, yeah. It's just, it is absolute back and forward stuff. Nick Cooper's right on the back of this as well. Oh, there's a touch of the wall through the cut, and it's put the BMW side by side. It's Watson and Watts. No, they're not going to go side by side because Watts has backed out with that because he is a wily campaigner and knows all too well the 2-into-1 cutting at and he's just put the back of the car on the curb again. The lateral movement, incredible on these things. Watson misses the inside curb but doesn't miss the outside curb. Paul Sadlowski with less than 2 minutes to go is 6.5 seconds in the lead over the battling pack. His pristine Audi is looking phenomenal. Standing ovation all round. This is superb, says Woodcock. I absolutely could not agree more. Marcel Snapeman, as was pointed out, he was on a phenomenal comeback drive. He clipped the wall, he touched the gravel, had a spin, ended up off on the side. Gasson clipped the wall. The two Lambos are now battling, and Tom Solis could be looking at a double positional overtake because he's the carrying the least damage out of the three of them. This is the battle for 11th position, 5th in the championship. And not only that, Nick Cooper is battling. He was within 0.2 of a second. He's still within 0.2 of a second of Dan Watts, and we've seen Watts make a mistake already. Quickly trying to think of a driver we haven't seen make a mistake here at Bathurst. That's right, Paul Sidlowski. But we haven't seen Paul Sidlowski because he took pole position. He got himself into the lead. He got a 6.5 second gap, and he's probably not even so much as looked in the rear view mirror of the car he's driving. There is a aforementioned rear view mirror, and there is calmness personified. As calm as a coma up at the front, 6.3 seconds of a gap. He will get the gift of 30 kilograms of ballast for race number 2, but he will care not a jot. Sigur Revsig clocks the fastest lap of the race in the closing stages as well. Jordan Watson still in third, Watson Cooper still fourth and fifth. Cooper, of course, leading the way in the silvers. Is then Emmanuel Raji, who is in second place for the silvers, and Pryor has fended off the Lambos. He is on the podium. Can he bring this one home? Gasson and Snapeman have swapped positions. Oh, Sarah, I'm struggling to keep up here. They're at it right through the field. I'm almost glad we've got only got one lap left of this in a quick break before race 2. This is for no idea where to look at the minute.
No, battles across the field tonight. I've got to say, I've been on board with this battle from 10th down to 12th. They've been so close together. I don't know who's coming out on top, because they've all been kind of waiting behind each other, poking their heads out when they feel the time's right, waiting until the next overtaking zone. So yeah, it's been a battle definitely worth watching.
Oh, Solace on the killer curve. Is he going to keep out the wall? He is not. Is he managed to keep out his competitor? He is not.
Commentator's curse strikes again.
Indeed, I've seen that happen so many times. He goes to put the 8 ball in the corner pocket, but unfortunately the white ball ricochets off the corner of the pocket, comes back out. Oh, and I tell you what, he's actually maybe got unsettled because the Lamborghini clipped the wall ahead of him, but it is the killer curve. He did so well to hang on to that, but at this point I knew exactly what was coming because of the shape of the wall. It sends him back across the track, and it is an unwitting Ryan McCord that does end up on the receiving end, as we have missed. Oh, but missed Sidlowski crossing the line. I'm so sorry, Paul. There it is there on replay. Paul Sidlowski taking the checkered flag. His first race win. We did kind of catch sight of it there, but there he is taking the checkered flag. It is Sigurd Revsig who takes second place. They're all lining up. Jordan Watson with a phenomenal third. Dan Watts in fourth place. Nick Cooper, fifth overall, does bring home the race win for the silvers. Nergard next across the line, fifth in the pros, and then as Emmanuel Raji and Stuart Pryor did indeed bring home the podium. Where am I going with that one? Sorry, Stuart Pryor, yes, brought home the podium in the silvers as well. Snapeman finished ahead of Gasson McCord. That was absolutely mind-blowing. I can make no apologies for my brain. Absolutely, Paul Sidlowski has just been disqualified for driving the wrong way in the pit lane. And breathe. Sarah, sum up that race for me, please.
Oh. I mean, yet again, I think I've got to use your word. It's been a scintillating race. Number one, it's been an amazing race, and I'm so looking forward to the second race of this evening already.
Yeah, it is the racing quality here at RTO absolutely off the charts. We'd call the and breathe. I'm going to read that one again because I really do need to. As Priadko crosses the line, Whitburn is in the pits. Solace is still on the track. Hopefully we can grab this. Yes, we can. And we'll grab the results as well. The silvers. It is Cooper, Raji and Pryor on the podium in the race. Yes, Cooper, Raji and Pryor on the podium. Snapeman ahead of Gasson. We've got McCord still finished in 6th with Facina and Priadko 7th and 8th. And in the pros, sorry, I'm taking this one very slowly to catch my breath. That was incredible. Nick Cooper saying he is drenched. Yep, great race, Nick. Phenomenal race to bring that one home. Revsig brought home the fastest lap as well. and finished ahead of Paul Sidlowski. So Revsig was in second. Sorry, so it was Sidlowski that came in first there. He got disqualified at the end for driving the wrong way, but he did get the race win. Quick practice session and the drivers will be back out for quali. Sidlowski with the race win. Revsig in first. Watson. Revsig second. Watson in third. Raven.exe not responding. Factory reset required. Watts in fourth, and it was Cooper fifth overall. What a result. Nergard bringing it home in fifth position for the pros. Whittaker in sixth place. They're going away to add ballast. We're about to have another qualifying session as well. That, Sarah, is why we love broadcasting the RTO races. That had absolutely everything in there, and that curb at the top was almost the star of the show.
Yeah, battles across the field in race 1, which is always lovely to see, and RTO is definitely bringing the action tonight. And yeah, I got to agree with you that corner catching a lot of drivers out. I'd imagine a lot of them are going to dive out of the pits now, practice a couple more times before we go into the second qualifying to see if they can master the corner before the end of tonight.
Yeah, indeed, it will be an interesting one to see if they can make it to the end. And yeah, the bars that we've seen already, yeah, I'm still trying to catch my breath on this one. We will have a quick practice session to let the ballast be applied, and then we will be straight into quali for race number 2. That will, of course, follow exactly the same format. 8 generous minutes for the silvers, and then 8 generous minutes for the pros to set their time, see who can get themselves on that front row. As we've seen just how important it was. Paul Sidlowski taking absolute advantage of that when the battle on behind. Tom Solis nearly held it there, most certainly did. Got very close indeed. What a race 3 that was. And this is only round number 2. We've still got 6 rounds to go. There's the qualifying session starting. As always, Linksy absolutely nailing it there. Indianapolis next week. Then it is Oulton Park, Imola, Barcelona, Paul Ricard, and then Kai Lamy. As always, we will bring you coverage of all the races, and as well, at the end of the broadcast, we will show the full highlights reel from race 1 and then race number 2 from the Pro and Silvers. So do make sure you hang about to watch that as well. And a massive thank you as well to everyone that's subscribed to the RTO channel. There's been the phenomenal reception so far, and if this racing is just, yeah, that would be the reason why. Thanks to everyone as well putting likes on the stream, massively appreciated as well. My name's John Wright, of course, aka 00 Raven, on behalf of Raven Comms, bringing you all the coverage from Season 7. Joining me for the entirety of the season will be the wonderful Miss Sarah Hockey.
Hello, hello. Pleasure to be here.
Indeed, the pleasure all ours. And I did say to Sarah, she does know Linksy. Linksy does raid Sarah's channel. A lot of streamer in her own right, so if you can see her in the chat, do give her a follow over on Twitch. Does some F1 podcasting as well as racing and covering race leagues as well in Gran Turismo 7 and ACC. So make sure you go over and say hello as well. And of course, make sure you give Joe Boyle Linksy a follow on Twitch. I'm sure any moment now, now that he's finished applying the bars, we will see the RTO Esports share the Discord and SimGrid host page. Make sure you jump on board. You can still sign up to both series. As you saw, there was only 8 in AMS. So still spaces there with a couple of the drivers missing. But yeah, jump onto SimGrid and to Discord. Keep up to date with all of the action as it unfolds, and get yourself out on track as well. Of course, the series sponsored by Track Titan. It is the easiest way to find how to cut your lap times and see visually where you can improve to other drivers on the leaderboards or with your friends and fellow community racers. Challenge your friends to the fastest lap times at different tracks and car combinations and see where you or they are faster to be number one. Huge thank you to the sponsors. Not only prizes for first, second and third in the Pros, AMs and the Silvers, there's also a code for users in the stream. You can use the code RTO Titan at checkout. That's RTO TITAN at checkout, and that will give you 1 month free of the Plus subscription, and then 30% off your next month as well. So jump on board and support a company that not only get you faster on the track, but support communities to bring you broadcasts for the race series that they provide. And hopefully you are enjoying the coverage this evening. And this is not me patting my own back, but I'm going to say it's going to be pretty difficult not to enjoy the coverage this evening, given that the racing is making Sarah and I's jobs, quite frankly, ridiculously easy, it's safe to say, Sarah.
Yeah, although at some points it is definitely difficult. You want to keep an eye on everyone on the grid because they're so close together. So, yeah, a lot of battles, I think, coming up for race number 2 that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yes, you will. And a tricky track, as you've mentioned a couple of times, Sarah. Yeah, a couple of bits and pieces from your notes suggest the track. As we've said, it's not the easiest to get around, and it's not been changed much in its existence, so it really has stood the test of time. So despite being so difficult, despite being so tricky, drivers, fans, they all love it.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks. Although it's difficult, I think it's very rewarding at the same time. When you get it right, you feel great, and as a spectator, it's probably a great track to go and view the racing action.
Yeah, I would say so. Affectionately called the Green Hell by one of my fellow countrymen. Nick Cooper's got it all to do again. He said he was full on sweating in race number 1, and imagine that could be magnified in race number 2. He's already 7/10 ahead of the rest of the field, and the rest of the field are only separated by a quarter of a tenth of a second already. Here we go again, they scream. Scream if you want to go faster. That's what they used to shout when you were on the waltzers. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of screaming going on in the cars at the moment, I am sure. These times coming in thick and fast and very, very close. As I was saying previously, an 8-minute quali session around here is almost like a one-lap shootout. Nearly 3 minutes gone just for your out lap. That leaves you potentially 2 or 3 laps. One mistake on any of those laps though, and that really puts you in a tricky position. That is already the Silver down to 2 minutes left of their quali session. We're on board with Whitburn at the minute, but it is Nick Cooper. He's about to go quicker as well. We saw him get into the 2 minutes in race 1. The track temperature is down a bit, so you would think the times might get that little bit quicker with the track evolution. But 201.500 for Cooper at the minute. Solace almost held it to the end of race number 1. Not quite, improving on his quality position from race 1. So it's race 3 in the championship, race 1 tonight with the format, phenomenal format. 3 races you get between the quali and the races. 14 hours of on-track action that RTO are bringing you over the season. The AMs getting their own dedicated feature race, and then back-to-back races for the pros and the silvers. An 8-race series for the AMs, 16-race series for the pros. 3 down, 13 to go. And I've just realised, Sarah, 13, unlucky for some. There's yeah, we're 3 races down, 13 left to go, and we're at the mountain, 174 foot of elevation. Hopefully the drivers, I'm sure, will be praying they don't end up throwing themselves. Oh, as we see Forest Elbow again, full commitment, Sarah. The problem with being on the edge is you're on the edge. It's very easy to go one side or the other.
Yeah, and you've got either side concrete walls staring you down. Not the greatest sight ever when you're facing the wrong way.
Indeed, yeah. Certainly enough to make you more than wince, that is for sure. That calendar not quite working as expected, so we'll pop that off just now. But there is Cooper. Great work, Nick Cooper. So close to a P2 there. He was indeed. And he looks like he's taken P1 at the moment in the AMs. Tom Solis has been overtaken by Schneitman, who was on a quali ban race 1. He's just lost it out of Forest Elbow. Yes, indeed. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well, please. Thank you very much from everyone at RTO. And there should be some cool. It's worth it just for the notifications. Actually, we've got some cool notifications added, which I don't unfortunately get to fully see, but the viewers at home will. Here comes Solace out of the chase. We've seen some time made up there recently. Oh, and there we go. Oh, wow. He hit the back of the car and the front end buckled. Again, proven. Once again, these cars are held together with super glue, hopes and dreams, and none of those three stand the slightest chance against concrete. But that is the AMs done with their qualifying. So let's look at the official timesheets and see what we see. It is Cooper with the 30 kilograms of ballast, still taking the top spot. Whitburn in second, Schneitman third, Solis and Gasson fourth and fifth. Ryan McCord up to sixth with Raji, Facina and Pryor 7th, 8th and 9th. Priadko joining Pryor with no time set. They do still have about 9 seconds to get a lap time set, actually, as we're on board with Revzig. But yeah, that again, Sarah, just goes to gleaming testimony in Nick Cooper's drive this evening. Took pole position, got himself right in the mix with the pros in race number 1. He took the 30 kilograms of ballast, he took 2 purple sectors, and he's taken pole in the silvers again. Despite the 30 kilograms of ballast, looking very good for Cooper to take back-to-back wins here.
Yeah, there's no slowing Cooper down tonight. He's on a roll and probably looking for another class win. Very impressive showing from him, I've got to say.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal driving from the McLaren driver. Let's see how his time stands up. Of course, these drivers as well will have more ballast on this race as well. We'll see Paul Sidlowski will be the driver with 30 kilograms. We'll see if he can replicate Cooper and still take the top spot in qualifying.
Oh, I was on board with Refsig there.
Yep. And there is, highlights another issue that you have at Bathurst with qualifying sessions like this. You don't have to make a mistake yourself. All you need is someone in front of you to make a mistake, end up sideways. You have to slow up to get yourself past. And that is exactly what happens. So we'll see if that's hindered Sidlowski in any way. And that's already 3.5 minutes of the pros qualifying time. So almost half of their quali time done and dusted, and still no lap time set, as we see some of the brake markers from the chase chicane just shooting across the track and off onto the grass. Yeah, it does seem fitting in that it's going to be Sidlowski, the first pro to set a time. Let's see how detrimental the 30 kilograms as ballast has been to him. 5th place as Nergard goes second. Watts again, early pole position for Watts with a 201.0, a second ahead of Nergard. We saw Revzig the wrong way, so it's going to be a while before we see him set a lap time. And Watson, wow. Yeah, so Sarah, any thought that Watts might have about having a bit of separation now that Revzig's qualifying is a bit in jeopardy? Up steps Jordan Watson, certainly not to be forgotten. Only a 10th separating these two in the opening laps. 2 laps still left to go. We're looking for a big comeback here from Sidlowski and Revzig, but Watts and Watson, the two BMWs, battling it out exactly as they ended race 1 here.
Yeah, showing that BMW, it seems to be quite in tune with this track tonight. Again, not much in between those two. I'm excited to see them two battling it out in the race that's yet to come.
Oh, and that's Ben Nergard facing the wrong way. He's in 3rd place in the pros, but he has just made a mess of Skyline. And he's just returned to the garage, so he's going to quickly try and get back out. He really is going to need to shift some if he's going to get his outlap. He needs to cross the line before the timer expires. He is back out. It's going to be a close one. Dan Watts is looking to get back into the 2 minutes if he can, and if he brings home the 3/10 that he's currently carrying, he can. Jordan Watson, 3/10 up on his time as well. Oh, and Dan Watts has just found 6/10 into the chase. Wow, a lot of time's being left tonight by the drivers in the chase. Well, I thought that curb up at the top, maybe the drivers on their banker laps in qualifying, taking it easy through the chase. Watts definitely not taking it easy that time, and that's a big improvement. 6/10 of a second. Here comes Jordan Watson out of the final chicane and into the final corner. He's got 4/10. He needs a big last corner here. It's all or nothing. He's got a decent gap over Sidlowski. Can he catch Watson? Can he catch Watts? He cannot. So Watts has gone quicker. Watson's gone quicker, but Watts has still managed to double the gap. And not only that, Sarah, Paul, 30 kilograms of ballast. Sidlowski has got the Audi up onto the front of row number 2 and seemingly fittingly is side by side with Nick Cooper. So the two cars with the 30 kilograms of ballast, again, doing very well, but this time side by side on the start line. Could this race start look any more exciting at this point?
Oh, I mean, we've still got Revzig still to set a lap, but the grid looking like it is so far is setting up for a phenomenal race yet to come. Oh, with Revzig just popping into 5th place there. I believe that collision early on in qualifying might have hampered his chances of getting onto that podium position for qualifying.
It may well, although it is Sigurd Revzig, and he did cross the line, and he's already found the 10th out with the first corner. He does need to find over a second, but again, it's Sigurd Revzig. Let's just all remember that at the minute. He might not be out the hunt yet. If he pops this on pole position, I will not be surprised. Watts and Watson are in the pits. They are done. Sidlowski is going quicker. It's not quick enough to catch Watson at the minute unless he can find 8/10 of a second out with the last corner, which would be a worldly of an effort in the Audi. He does not, and in fact doesn't improve on his time, but does stay on row number 2 alongside Cooper. Ben Nergard did have a crash. He is going quicker at the minute. He's going quicker than Revzig's time, but Revzig is going quicker, so he may well hold on to 5th overall, which would be 4th in the pros. Whitburn, Snapeman, Solis and Gasson have all crossed the line. Whitburn 2nd in the silver. Snapeman qualifying 3rd, exactly a 10th behind and ahead of Whitburn and Solis respectively. 2/10 separates Solis from Gasson, as Revzig is separated from the checkered flag by only a few corners. Ben Nergard coming along the Conrod Straight has a lot of time in his pocket, and in fact could end up finishing ahead of Revzig here. He does have enough to overtake Revsig, even with the time that Revsig's carrying. So 2/10 into Murray's corner for Revsig. He needs to be good here. Ben Nergard could still take the position from him. He does go quicker within a second of his teammate Watts. Here comes his teammate Nergard though, and Nergard is 6/10 behind and 7/10 quicker. He's 8/10 quicker. He's 7/10 quicker. He's crossed the line, and Nergard has separated Sidlowski and Cooper and put him on the second row. 4 pros up at the top, and Nick Cooper again we see a silver in 5th place, but it is the silver leader Nick Cooper, and that is incredible work right down to the end. We're not going to get the quality times again, so we will have a look at that in a moment. Revsig up to 6th there, Sarah. I did say he wasn't to be counted out. I did forget to mention Ben Nergard though, who's brought that RTO Mercedes, no ballast, 4th position, and between the 2 race 1 winners, this one's heating up beautifully.
Yeah, we're so close to the start of the race, and again he's got a pretty good seat behind the Watson and Sadlowski, so yeah, he might be in a chance for podium here.
Yep, absolutely not out with the realms of possibility. As you say, the cars ahead of them all got that ballast. 25-degree track temperature, so the track temperature has absolutely plummeted for the drivers. So they'll be making quick adjustments to those tyres. As I've just realised, my apologies Sarah, I did not bring up a screen for you to watch again since I restarted. You should have gave me a shout. Let me just make that happen for you now. There we go. You can keep up with the action now as well. Excellent. As you can see, it is Season 7. Season 6 is still available. Make sure you go back and watch it. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. You've seen what just happened here at Race 1, Round 2. Let's have a look and see what happens round 2, race 2. All BMW front row. Sidlowski, despite the ballast, getting himself up to 3rd, but he's got an unballasted Mercedes on the outside. It's the green lights, it's foot down, it's flat out, and it's flying into turn number 1. And as is expected, the Mercedes, although Sidlowski gets it done on the brakes, holds on to the position. That is Snapeman in the background coming under pressure. In fact, Tom Solis is losing positions hand over fist. He's had a dreadful start off the line. The Ferrari since the 1.9 update really have been getting themselves bogged down off the line, and that's certainly another case of that here today. Solis down 4 positions. Snapeman and Whitburn all looking good in the silvers. Dan Watts, Jordan Watson leading the way. Sidlowski has been overtaken by Ben Nergard, the 30 kilograms of ballast. It does see Nergard up to 3rd position, Sidlowski 4th, it's Snapeman in 6th place. He's leading the way. Snapeman is leading the way again. He's got no ballast, so that could certainly suggest how that overtake was done. But let's have a look at him. Oh, and it was Cooper having a look up the inside of Revsig, and that's what's hung himself out to dry there. Couldn't get the move done on Revsig, had to kill his speed someplace, moved over to the left hand side, and Snapeman has walked right on through. He's taken 2 positions so far, and that's good enough to give him the lead in the silver. So Watt's still leading the pro with Watson and Nergard on the podium with him. It's then Snapeman, Cooper and Whitburn on the podium for the silvers. Once again, the entire field has made it through the opening few, or made it right through the opening lap, to be fair. And here comes Nick Cooper coming straight back at Marcel Snapeman for the lead in the silvers along the corner straight, despite having that extra 30 kilograms of ballast. He's got the corner exit of the gods out of the Forest Elbow and into the braking zone of the chase. It's barely a contest as the McLaren looks to go round the outside. Very defensive line taken by the Mercedes. Oh, Tom Solis wavered in the background, lateral movement on the way out of the chase chicane, almost collecting the McLaren of Whitburn. He's gone up the inside, he's mounted that curve, the car unsettled. Whitburn backs out of it, thinks better of that. The battle for the race in the silver, still cracking on in the final podium position in the silvers, very much in contention as well, as we can see Pryor closing in the Aston Martin. Dan Watts, as you would expect, takes the fastest opening lap. Paulson Losky in the Audi is is on very much on the back of the car's head. He's got 1.1 seconds back to Revsing. He's got a big gap back to Schneemann, who will have an ever increasing gap back because Nick Cooper is very much trying to retake the lead of the silvers. Paulson Losky looking to get himself another podium here. He won race 1. He's got 30 kilograms on the car, but he has got the race lead within less than 2 seconds ahead of him. Oh, and that's a big mistake by Nergaard. Nergaard on the exit to the cut, and he's absolutely melted that Mercedes into the wall, and the wall has absolutely melted the Mercedes on the way up into the cut. No one around him. No mistake by the driver ahead to unsettle him. I wonder if the back of the car ahead had maybe thrown him off a bit. Just that exit there. Oh, he's missed that apex here. It doesn't look like much, but that puts him over to the left-hand side. He's missed that one. Oh, and that's right up bang. Bit of pinball with the walls. Phenomenal opening laps there, Sarah, but Ben Nergaard, the first big casualty that we're seeing, and he's down to 14th position after that slightest of mistakes, bringing home some gargantuan consequences for the Mercedes Pro driver.
Yeah, not what he was probably looking for in tonight's second race. Potentially, maybe the cooling temperatures causing a little bit of issues for some of the drivers. But we've also had McCord into the pits, and earlier on in the race, I'm not sure what happened to Raji and Butera, because they both lost a lot of positions and a lot of time towards the main pack.
Right, okay, so they've lost time as well, but yeah, McCord in at the pits. Yeah, Butera no longer in the race, unfortunately. This is the battle for the silver lead that we're watching. Schneemann and Cooper. Schneemann served the quali ban in race 1, got himself back up to within podium contention, but then made a mistake, found himself off track. He's now ballast 3 in race number 2 and got race 1 winner all over the back of him, and they've got Whitburn and Solis not too far down the road either. Watson still being pestered by Watson. Losky 1.9 seconds down the road, so he is indeed back on the podium. Sigurd Revsik up to 4th. Look at how close that Porsche gets. Here comes the aforementioned Lamborghini and McLaren, so you can see just how close. Oh, they're getting to the wall, and that is one of the mistakes. It really is a lesson you have to learn as a race driver. You have to watch the track. You cannot watch the car ahead, because if they make a mistake, you might just follow them. And yeah, Nick Cooper was far too believing that Schneemann was going to hit that line perfectly. They've both had a bit of a clip of the wall there. That'll certainly bring solace on the way up to Forest Elbow. That's another clip of the wall there that we're seeing for Schneemann. Sorry, that was Cooper that just clipped that wall as well. I was jumping on board with Solis. He's actually got a huge gap over Whitburn. I think Whitburn's had a bit of an issue coming down the mountain. He does seem to be carrying... Oh no, is he carrying damage on that car? No, he's not, sorry. That was moving a bit quickly there, but he is just... yeah, he's just lost a bit of time there. Gasson certainly not losing time to Pryor. He'll be looking to bring the car home undamaged at this time if he can. Raji picking up a 5-second penalty. And Nick Cooper still looking very close. Look how close this is. I'm sure Tom Solis more than happy to see this battle unfold ahead. Watson, both very close, Sarah, and so to the Schneemann, Cooper and Solis battle. Gasson and Pryor as well. The opening few laps, we've seen a couple of fallers by the wayside, but the rest of the pack once again settling into these close knit groups. We're on board with Solis at the minute. What is it that's catching your eye out on track just now?
I've got to say, it's the Pryor and Gasson battle at the moment. They're so close together, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gasson's going to kind of make his move. And I said that Gasson makes his move on Pryor and gets past.
Yes, he does, yeah, well spotted. You did pick Jordan Watson as one to watch. He's done well in the last 2 races, and you can certainly pick out a battle that's about to produce an overtake as well. As we can see, the Lamborghini and the Aston heading into Quarry Bend. Is this another cutting calamity for one of the drivers? Oh, and then just before the cutting there, the Aston lost a whole lot of time, and I don't think he put up too much defence here. The car entirely unsettled from the Quarry Bend exit, and that is probably one of the easiest overtakes that Richard Gaston's ever had around Bathurst, and for that I'm sure he'll be eternally grateful. It puts him up to 5th position in the silvers and gives him 3 seconds to make up to Paul Whitburn ahead. Still, the battle for the podium in the silvers is separated by little more than a second as Tom Solis chases Cooper and Schneepman into the chase. Oh, the Lambo ran a bit deep there. And it's an interesting dynamic as well, and I think it just shows you how much more impressive some of the driving is, Sarah. These drivers, they'll do all their practice, but you look at Nick Cooper, he'll have practice the Bathurst, and then he wins the race and gets 30 kilograms of ballast for race number 2. He's got an 8-minute quali session to get used to the car, and then a 25-minute race. Oh, and that's a big mistake. We'll come back to Sarah in a second, because that's Schneepman. Hell's Corner living up to its name there. Schneepman putting too many wheels the wrong side of the curb, and the Lamborghini said, no thank you, good sir, and Nick Cooper retakes the lead of the silvers. Incredible scenes there. The slightest of mistakes, it shows you just how easily positions can be lost, as Sarah has said a few times. But back to the and again, it just back to the previous point, Sarah. Just highlighted there, Cooper getting the job done. Schneepman, no ballast, getting the job done. Cooper's out here with an extra 30 kilograms in that car, and we're yielding what is looking like another podium. Don't want to jinx it, but a podium is definitely on the cards here for Cooper. Minimum, you would say.
Yeah, minimum podium. I would agree with you. Yeah, 8 minutes to get used to that success ballast. It throws a different sort of challenge to the driver's way, but he seems to be coping with it quite well, kind of capitalising on Schneepman's mistake there. Like you say, I think definitely on for a podium, and an amazing night for him tonight.
Yeah, back-to-back podiums with the format that is currently running is absolutely no mean feat. Finishing the race is no mean feat. Unfortunately, Messrs Neergaard and Whittaker would both agree with that. Both of them got the Mercedes in the pit, so where the BMWs have shone, the Mercedes not quite so much. Neergaard back out of the pits after getting that damage repaired well down the field. He will still get himself some very good points in the championship, but certainly won't be making an assault on that top 4. The top 4 at the minute, as we see, it is Watts still leading the way. He's got Watson within a second. Sidlowski on for another podium. Phenomenal race by him, 2.1 seconds down. It is Sigurd Revzig. Nick Cooper, he's wasting no time trying to shake Schneepman free from the slipstream. That really could have very easily went badly wrong there. And it certainly could go badly wrong very easily here at Bathurst. But Cooper
We've had a bit of a Priadko having a bit of a casualty there, coming out of Hell's Corner.
Yeah, that really does live up to its name. Oh, yeah. Just too many wheels on that curb. And the Mercedes, the back end. A driver, I'm sure, will be... Oh. Not only eternally grateful the track is cooler, but eternally cursing the smallest turning circle of the Mercedes. There goes Raji through to take a position there. He's got a 5-second penalty after an earlier incident. Jordan Watson getting 2 points so far for the fastest lap of the race with 13 left to go. We did see that change hands furiously in the open race. We'll see if that happens again as Watson does seem to have found a bit of pace on Watts. They've got Neergaard, McCord, sorry, ahead of them.
Solis has also made a move on Schneitman as well.
In fact, Schneitman is down a couple of positions. He's got a lot of damage. Also coming out with the cutting then as we jump on board. We couldn't quite jump back far enough, but yes, Schneitman has made some kind of mistake, and that is a lot of contact. And he is driven back to the pit, so he will repair and come back out. But when he does, he'll be well down the field. Whitburn will easily pick this one off here. Schneitman is a very clean and fair driver. All the drivers here are. But yeah, I'm sure he will quickly get himself out of the way to let Whitburn pass, because that car, safe to say, aerodynamically compromised there for Schneitman. So definitely, so not even a tale of two races here. Race 1, he made a comeback charge from a quali ban, got himself close to the front of the field. He was looking great for him in the race lead, but then Bathurst doing Bathurst things, and Schneitman now finds himself out of podium contention and in the pits, getting a whole lot of damage repaired. As I say, he will come back out and finish the race. He knows there's still good points up for grabs, but it certainly won't be the points that he thought he was going to be getting. Gasson also through. I think Raji through as well. He is tumbling down the order. Priadko, no surprise, he's coming out the pits to get some damage repaired as well. Yep, I'm just going to catch my breath again, because it seems like we've got 3 seconds to do so, and it's all about to kick off again. There we go. 14th place Ryan McCord just being blue flagged by the 2 BMWs leading the way. Watts finding a couple of 10th on Watson there. Watson having a great drive as well. The 2 BMWs, as Sarah said, really finding their feet around Bathurst. We're over the halfway mark of race number 4 of the series. Race number 2 for the pros and silvers tonight. And what a 35 minutes of racing it has been so far. Still got another 10 minutes to come. As we see,
I've got to say, Cooper.
Sorry, yes.
The gap from Cooper to Solis, he's having a phenomenal race.
Yeah, he is actually. You're absolutely right. Not only the gap to him and Solis, sorry, the gap to him and Revzig. That is definitely closing down a bit there as well. Revzig 3.4 seconds behind Sidlovsky, but Cooper not only extending the gap to Solis, he is giving Revzig more than seems pause for thought there. 1.6 seconds, we'll see what that drops. So Whitburn in the pits now. Oh, so Whitburn gifted a position, he's back into the pits, so that's going to put Schneitman back up again. Schneitman's on his outlap, he's back ahead of Whitburn, who doesn't appear to be carrying any damage.
Oh, Gasson.
Oh,
facing at 90 degrees the wrong way there. Getting a lot of damage from that.
That looks like a lot of damage. Yeah, Linksy in the chat. Both Mercer behaving badly this evening. Indeed, James is struggling with the setup and Ben is having understeer. Yeah, the Merc's really not settling in race 2. Let's see if we can see for the trees. Oh, and he's just had a wiggle in the middle phase of the corner there. So innocuous, just the slightest bit. Lateral movement on the back of the Lambo into Quarry Bend, and that is Gasson back down positions and carrying damage. The action never ends at RTO, and it certainly never ends at Bathurst. We've got Jordan Watson and Dan Watts still leading the way, still only separated by an aggregate of a second. It's slightly under, slightly over as the race continues. At the minute, it's slightly in the favour of Watson, who's got the fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute .617. Watts' fastest lap with 2-minute .660. Close on track, close in the times as well. That's Whitburn right down to the back of the field. Nergard back up to 12th position. With McCord in 13th overall. Whitaker back out with Priadko as well. So it's only Whitburn currently in the pits. And Cooper has found almost... What's going on? Oh, Gasson's come into the pits now to get his damage repaired, as we were about to look at Nick Cooper Still chasing Revzig. Oh, and that's... Oh, Ryan McCord just getting out of the way. Yes, so Ryan McCord just moving himself out of the way. Raji is about to take a position from Gasson. He's going to put a lap up on Priadko as well, as Nick Cooper is going quicker over the mountain than Sigurd Revzig is. Watson, 1.1 seconds is the gap there. We'll get an update on where Raji is very shortly indeed. How far behind? Open up some sparks thrown up from Cooper there. Wow, this is intense here. I mean, you think it's intense for us. I can't even imagine what it's like for Cooper and Revzig in those cars. You see Revzig, an uncharacteristic mistake. I can't even get my words out. I'm so on the edge of my seat here, Sarah. But whatever the outcome's going to be, all hail Nick Cooper. Surely got to be driver of the round without a question.
Definitely, I think Nick Cooper is definitely driver of the night. Basically, he's been nothing but calm, collective. He's done a phenomenal job, and he's probably seen everyone around him kind of going into the pit repairing that damage. So to have quite a huge gap to him from Solace, he's probably taking a few breaths in at the moment.
Indeed he is, yeah, and he'll be looking certainly ahead of him. 5th place overall, no mean feat, but he is definitely keeping pace with Revzig ahead, so Revzig will need to be on the ball in the closing stages if he is going to hold on to overall 4th. He will remain 4th in the pros, of course, if Cooper goes past. But yeah, Cooper, 30 kilograms of ballast from race 1, and he is still punching it with the pros up at the front of the field. Watts is still the leading light, and he is starting to find a bit of time on Watson. That ballast starting to take its toll on Watson, despite it being a bit cooler. The tyres maybe still feeling the pressure because of that extra weight. And Watts, oh, and we've got a car facing the wrong way.
Yeah, Facina.
Wow, the race leader's very, very, very close to that one there. Okay, so he was holding his brakes there, but yeah, down through Skyline. Facina collecting a wall, a whole lot of damage, and a quick 47-point turn to try and get going again, as we saw the race leaders make their way through. Again, massive shout out to the sportsmanship of the drivers at RTO. Absolutely nothing less than you would expect, but definitely worthy of praise, because you do see it go wrong so badly, so often. The drivers making mistakes, doing their utmost best not to inflict that mistake on anyone else out on track, and holding their brakes in very tricky positions, reading the condition, understanding what's coming and getting moving at the right time. RTO Esports links in the chassis and agreed. N Cooper for driver of the day, but also big shout out and congrats to Sidlowski on his first pro win in RTO race 1. Absolutely, yeah, huge. And Sidlowski, actually, Sarah, oh, it is a tough one, because Linksy is right. Cooper, he does bring back-to-back wins in the silvers. It's on the cars, the 30 kilograms of ballast, but Sidlowski's got 30 kilograms of ballast as well. Big win in race 1. I did say at the start of the race tonight and the start of the series, he is going to be one to watch in the pros, because his consistency will do great things over a season, and it's done great things for him tonight. Pole position in the race 1 for the pros, brings home the race win, and with 30 kilograms of ballast, he's less than a second off the lap times that Jordan Watson's setting ahead of him. So yeah, Nick Cooper's definitely got some tough competition from Sidlowski for that driver of the day spot this week. We may have been a bit hasty there. Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, Sidlowski, with that 30 kilograms more ballast, he's definitely still as quick as he was in race number 1, and picking up a big haul of points from tonight.
Did he will, yeah, and he'll be beaming ear to ear. I know him as well, because yeah, I've spent some time speaking to Paul and doing a bit of broadcasting with him as well. Really nice guy, and it's great to see him bring that race win home. Flynn saying coach of the day is Linksay, because he tamed the Porsche. Nicholas is asking who the viewer of the day is. Ooh. Viewer of the day. Nige Woodcut, because he used the word captivating. Yeah, just to quickly, I could scroll back for a while now, but yeah, we're going to go with Nige Woodcut for using the word captivating. So there we go, congratulations to Nige Woodcut. The only clear winner on viewer of the day, so haha. Flint, but it's you who needs to drive it. Indeed. He is very indeed. So you're the champ there. Yeah, making it to the end of this one. Making it to the end of Bathurst, the mountain that bites back. And when it does bite, it bites hard. Just ask 90% of the drivers, Nick Cooper and Paul Sidlowski, have not succumbed to its wily ways. And they're getting themselves some phenomenal podiums. There's Sigurd Revzig just behind Sidlowski, and Nick Cooper now just dropping off ever so slightly behind Revzig. The extra balance maybe taking its toll. He's maybe realised, you know what, I've got the back-to-back race wins. That is an incredible haul. An incredible haul. Paul Sidlowski wins his first ever race at RTO. Nick Cooper turns up and goes back-to-back wins on the same time. Talk about overshadowing the man's accomplishments. My goodness me, but Nick Cooper, phenomenal drive. He said he was sweating in race number 1. I think race number 2, we're now seeing that take its toll a bit as he loses a bit of time to Revzig ahead, but still gaining time on Tom Solis. And big shout out to him, putting in a great drive as well. Lost it at the end of race number 1. He's fighting back hard with a podium, and Stuart Pryor as well. You want to talk about drivers getting the head down and bringing home the results, and say Stuart Pryor absolute nailed on for the award for that one in this race. On the tough race 1, involved in a lot of battles. He's Aston Martin guiding him well here though in race number 2, as we see the lights and the number of laps diminish to near 0 as Dan Watts leading the way across the line, and he's got a 2.3 second gap over Jordan Watson. Watson is in line at the moment to take the 2 points for the fastest lap, but did he spell it correctly, Raven? I have no idea, I can't read. Number 8 for driver of the day, taking it to the pros. Yeah, Nick Cooper getting big shouts. Woodcuts, congrats on viewer of the day. And livery of the season as well. RTO, I think VR helped a lot to understand the post. Okay. Racing in VR. If I raced in VR, I would probably starve to death in my rig. It is so engrossing and engaging. It is incredible. I did it at my friend's house once, and I will probably never do it again for those very reasons. Oh, a few sparks off the wall there from Watts. Don't do an own Nick now, my friend. Bring home that race win. Oh, is it Daniel that makes that livery? Nice. Yeah, none of the RTO. In fact, Dan Watts wins that as well for the RTO team. We definitely need to get someone over at Awesome Sim Racing and give them a bit of a shake, get these liveries working. Maybe even put in an error message if the liveries aren't uploaded to the website correctly, and then... but yeah, we will do our utmost, I can assure you. Meetings have already been arranged between Mr. Boyle and myself to get that sorted because I can assure you, as much as I appreciate the driving talent and the back end that stepped out through the chase, I appreciate the livery talents even more. Dan Watts, he will be loving this one. In the opening 2 rounds, 4 races in, he stakes a claim for his championship spot with a race win. Hard fought that was between the BMWs, but they did what they needed to do. Jordan Watson bringing home 2nd place, another podium, and Paul Sidlowski back-to-back podiums, 1st place and 3rd. Phenomenal display, and in the Porsche, Revzig in 4th, and there is Nick Cooper. 2 for 2 for Nick. Phenomenal drive And there we can see the RTO drivers lining up as we see Tom Solis rounding the last corner to take the checkered flag for a spot on the podium. And it is Budweiser time for Stuart Pryor. Do not drink and drive, please drink responsibly. It is the Aston Martin of Pryor bringing it round Murray's corner. The lights flashing before he's even got to the last corner. That is one happy driver there, and absolutely rightfully so, to bring home a podium in this field on this track. We're running out of superlatives, Sarah. That was a cracker, and incredibly well-deserving podiums for the drivers that did manage to take them there.
Definitely, and as I said earlier, obviously Watt's been still very poorly, and at first we didn't think he was going to be here for both races, so to even be in the second race and finishing first, that's a massive achievement.
Yeah, it really is, actually. Yeah, another shout for... Oh, that's completely reset, so let me just hide my blushes with this one here. There we go. Commentator of the day, that's easy. Sarah, she managed to keep up with me, and she didn't storm out the commentary booth in the huff when I interrupted her questions 7,900 million times. So yeah, definitely commentator of the day goes to Sarah, easy. And definitely because as well, I wasn't quick enough to get a screenshot of the results there. So we can't quite confirm the podiums, but we all saw the race that just happened. Dan Watts being poorly, bringing it home. Jordan Watson second, and Paul Sidlowski in third. Nick Cooper, take a bow. Many shouts for yourself as driver of the day, led by the commentary team. Back-to-back race wins with 30 kilograms of ballast around Bathurst. I doff my cap to the good sir. Congratulations as well to Tom Solis. Big turnaround from race number 1. Brings home the podium in race number 2. Absolutely incredible stuff there, Sarah. Give us your closing thoughts. I cannot get my words out after the excitement there, so don't worry if you can only mutter a few sentences. But yeah, give us your closing up. The AMs led us up nicely. The pros and the silvers really putting it out on track out there. And Indianapolis next week. Bring it on.
Yeah, another exciting track ahead. Yeah, I mean, tonight's races, all three of them have been amazing. Yet again, the RTO family definitely know how to put on a show for us commentators. Like you say, there's always battles to look at. So, yeah, I mean, all three races, all drivers should be massively proud of themselves for sticking out this difficult track down under.
Indeed, yes. That song, I come from a land down under, about where men working hard and everyone has to work hard. I know, sorry, yeah, Linksy, I know, that's exactly, I stumbled over my word there and I thought to myself, yeah, that's definitely not where you want to go. But yeah, no, it was the closing thoughts rather than clothing thoughts. We weren't getting fashion tips from Sarah. I wasn't being a sexist and assuming that she's got fashion tips because she's female. No, I was going for closing thoughts. So there we go. Big thanks to everyone in the chat. Massive shout, of course, to Track Titan. It's the easiest way to find how to cut your lap times and see visually where you can improve to other drivers on their leaderboards, or even with your friends and fellow community racers. You should speak to Linksy. I'm sure there is an RTO leaderboard on Track Titan, so make sure you get signed up and put Mr. Joe Boyle in his place. And just to dispel any rumours, by the way, Joe is only not racing this season so he can set up the streams. It's not because he's scared of Paul Sidlowski giving him a season-long driving the wheels off him in his beloved new McLaren. I tried to put that joke in earlier, missed it because of all the action. But yeah, make sure you get yourself signed up, and you can challenge your friends to get the fastest lap times at different tracks and car combos, and see where you or they are faster to be number one. Not only giving prizes to the drivers, first, second, and third place in the pros, AMs, and silvers will all receive an annual plus, a 6 months plus, and a 3 months plus membership, respectively. You all the drivers and viewers at home, you too get can get yourself 1 month free on Plus and 30% off your next month purely by using the code RTO Titan at checkout. That's RTO TITAN at checkout. And you can support yourself on track and support a phenomenal company that do so much to bring us so much online action and sponsor so many sim racing events that we all know and love. Any second now, my beautiful secretary, Mr. Joe Boyle, will share the links in the chat for the Discord and the SimGrid host page. Make sure you get onto the Discord, get onto SimGrid as well, and sign up for the event. Still places available on the grids, and this time next week it could be you, the excited Scotsman, and the ever wonderful English female, I don't even know where I'm going with that one, commentator, is shouting your name. Sorry, I've really stumbled myself there, Sarah. That was a bit of a strange one to trip up on, wasn't it?
It's all good.
It was indeed. It was a bit of a strange one. But that's all we have time for this evening. Probably, thankfully, you're all saying now. But there is the Discord link. So yeah, get yourself involved. We'll be back same time, same place next week. As I say, we will leave you with the highlights from the pros and the silvers. So do enjoy them. And until Indianapolis, it is a good night from Sarah.
Good night.
And it is a good night from me. Stay safe, take it easy, and have a great rest of your night. Good night.